What is up? What is up? What is up, Moody? What's going on, man?
No- Nothing much. Hydration, recovery, and wrestling. I mean, the hydration and recovery is for us. I mean, that's for them too. They need to
Yeah,
hydrate and recover
yeah. It
every
was it
week.
was Friday. Probably partying too. It's kind of nice weather outside. It's getting
Yeah, it's funny.
hot.
I meant them for wrestling. I meant us for just being irresponsible and not athletes at all. Like we
Yeah,
both drank
yeah.
last night. They're actually taking care of themselves. We're the ones being degenerates. But welcome to
uh,
the number 39 episode, Steven
39.
Jackson. We already got it.
Steven
Yeah.
Jackson. Yeah. My local one would be Kaishan Jarrett. He was
Okay.
a Washington football player because he never played for the Commanders. Technically, we drafted him in like the 7th round. He's out of Virginia Tech.
Nice.
Uh,
Love a local guy.
Either 7th or 6th round, Virginia Tech. And then he had a pretty good rookie season. Like, he wasn't like spectacular, but like he made some stuff. You're like, oh, okay. Like for a 6th or 7th rounder starting. All right, you might got something here in the as a player in this league. It was the last week of the season. We're playing at Dallas. I forget who their running back is. It was at the time. He goes up the middle and tries to truck. They kind of meet in the middle of the field, like collision truck, right?
Hmm.
Gives this dude like a serious like stinger that basically wiped out his entire career. Like he retired after that point. But
Dang.
that's like a low key like, man, what could have been Commanders legend like
Hmm.
Kaishan Jarrett, man. So shout out 39. Shout out to Kaishan Jarrett, and I think All Pro Revo Jeremy Reeves. Shout out Jeremy Reeves 39 as well. But that's enough 39s for now. Let's get into these firsts. I got 2, and you got 1. I'll start with mine because just to get both of mine are pretty easy, but I'll start with an easy one that popped up in my head yesterday. So again, I watch a lot of movie reaction channels and stuff like that. One of the channels I was watching, Cinepals, they've been watching through the Barbershop series, so they can get to Beauty Shop because apparently that's been like a requested amongst the fans, and so they just watched Barbershop 2 yesterday. And
Hmm.
as I'm watching it through again, I'm like, man, Eve is like underground, like not even underground, but like low key. It's like black hip hop royalty. No, or you could even take out the hip hop, just like black royalty. Because like she's had like in my mind, she kind of has like the perfect blend where it's like, man, she's kind of like black famous. I don't know if she ever had that crossover. Her biggest crossover is probably like Let Me Blow Your Mind, but I'm sure if you ask like general population whose song that is, they'd probably tell you Gwen Stefani.
Gwen Stefani. Yeah.
But like that's Eve's like biggest song. One with crossover. I think was she on the Moulin Rouge? No, that wasn't her. She wasn't on Moulin Rouge.
No.
That
Wait,
was Christina Aguilera,
Aguilera.
Maya, Lil
Mhm.
Kim, and then okay, yeah. So it wasn't Eve. It wasn't
Yeah.
Eve. But seeing her come up, I was reading through her come up on her Wikipedia. Yeah, she was a stripper at 18 for like a month, and then Mace found her, and then she ended up doing, getting on projects with DMX on his first album, doing work with The Roots. I'm like, bro, that's fucking wild. Then you get your own TV show, you're in movies, and then all of a sudden you disappear. At least this is how it went for me. Like I was like, yo, whatever happened to Eve? What happened to Eve? What happened to Eve? Then you find out she living her best life
With an Italian
married to a
billionaire.
billionaire.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then like I would have surmised that I can't find a single black man or woman that'd be like, nah, Eve, how you gonna marry a white billionaire? I'm like, bro, Eve didn't know nothing to nobody. You ain't never heard Eve's name in any type of drama or nothing. Go ahead, marry you a billionaire.
Exactly. Like what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, it's wild. And so again, I have an affinity for Philly girls, so I'm just like, again, she has all like the qualities of like what makes Philly girls great, and then it's just like, damn. And then you never had any blowups, and then you ended up being married to a billionaire, and you just living your best life.
He came up. You talk about the come up, like
that's what I'm saying, bro. Like Eve's name needs to get thrown in there as far as just like, damn, bro.
Well, she is thrown in there. Like we knew that she was over there in Italy. That's why we haven't checked on her. Because if anything, that same era when the girlies were talking about, man, remember it was viral talking about Sierra's prayer because of Russ and everything, and like her track record. It's like Eve is probably high key the queen of that, because she actually got a billionaire. But it's like Sierra had all the fun in the world. If you look at her track record, she had all the fun, and guess what? She's safe and single with 5 kids now or something like that. And we ain't heard no
like
new
5
music
with
up
Russ,
until
and then how many does she have with Future?
yeah, 1 with Future. Her oldest
Okay.
is with Future, Lil Future. But yeah, I think it's a total of 5. But literally, she brings out a single for the first time that I've heard in forever, which literally yesterday she posted a new song, and I was like, when's the last time you heard a Sierra single? Exactly. Exactly. When's the last time you
Sure, I
heard
have,
Eve?
but I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. So it's like Eve, Sierra, yeah. For real, yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them and their prayers. My Percy, simple shit, bringing it back. Content corner again. For looking forward to stuff coming out. We got the trailer for the rehearsal too, and it looks epic. I mean, it needs no explanation up here, but for the few viewers and listeners that we got, the rehearsal being on HBO Max. Dang, forgive me. What's Nathan? What's his last name? I can only remember Nathan Fielder. Yeah, starring Nathan Fielder, where people have stressful situations they want to basically prepare for. And so he's like, all right, we will go through a rehearsal. And he just rehearses every single minutia of life. Like
it's crazy.
Like in this, yeah, as crazy as it can be, like down to the every single detail to the point where he's rehearsing for your rehearsal. And shit like that. So I saw that trailer and I was like, all right, good. We got a lot of good stuff coming up in spring that we can at least look forward to. We got this and like, Last for Us too.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. I
was just saying Last for Us 2 is on the way. Yeah, season 2. And I was gonna mention common side effects. I feel like I mentioned this up here before. You're not a huge fan of animation. Like, that finale just happened.
I'm a fan of animation. Anime is harder to get into, but animation as a property, fine. I love animation. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's just been a good stride. We got a good stride of stuff coming out and stuff that's happened.
I added common side effects to my watch list a while ago. I just haven't gotten the chance to actually watch it yet. But it's funny enough, one of my neighbors had brought it up to me yesterday and was also highly recommending it as well, talking about how it goes into like big pharma and things of that nature as well. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'd definitely check it out as well. I'm really glad that you brought up the rehearsal because I remember I put you on that. I'm like, bro, this is wild. And we watched through it. And I wasn't sure if like you like kept like if you were like you liked it or it was just a little too out there or whatever. But the fact that you were like, oh, okay, yeah, season 2, the rehearsal's coming back is dope. I heard that it was coming back. I didn't know there was a trailer until you had posted in the Notion doc. I Google searched it, did not watch the trailer. Comes out 4/20, which is awesome. That's 2 weeks. The end of WrestleMania.
I did notice that.
It's coming out at the end of WrestleMania, so it's nice to see whatever happens between Cody and Rock, and then go like, okay, let's watch Nathan Fielder.
Yeah,
but
without giving anything away, or I guess I am technically, but there's one shot where it looks like they're in a Senate like committee hearing, like Nathan is answering questions in front of Congress. That's what it looks like. And I'm like,
I would not doubt him. Here? I would not doubt this man and be able to do something like that.
Maybe it's not like DC, but I can see that maybe it's a state legislature. Like he's at the New York or like, something like that. But that's definitely the setup. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
I mean, the headlines that I saw when you Google searched the rehearsal season 2, I'll do it real quick. It said something about like plane crashes. It says, Nathan Fielder takes on aviation in season 2 trailer. Yeah, Nathan Fielder takes on commercial aviation disasters, ? But I'm like, man, the weirdness, the meta, and his awkwardness all combined in this show is amazing.
Yeah.
And did you ever get to watch his other show on Paramount with what's the Gwen Stacy from Spider-Man?
Emma Stone?
Yeah. He has a show on Paramount with
Nah. I only watched Nathan for You and the rehearsal that I can remember.
Let me see. The Curse.
Yeah, The Curse. Nah.
Yeah.
I think I saw the trailer for that, I think. I never watched an episode.
And it has Benny Safdie as one of the Safdie brothers. He's also in the show as well. Him and Nathan Fielder both created it. It's an A24 show. But yeah, that it's just like a Nathan Fielder show. That shit's weird as fuck, but it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. What you got?
My last Percy is it's an easy one. It's a fun one. And I was scrolling through Reddit and this had popped up and it was just a picture. I'll share the screen just so
Okay.
people who are watching can have an idea of what we're talking about. Where's the screen? Why did not get added to
Voila.
this page? There we go.
There it is.
So yeah, just scrolling through Reddit, and then I see this picture, and I see a broken table with a bunch of Uno cards, and there's no caption or anything. But if you know what this picture means, and that means that there was a heated argument while playing a game of Uno. And Uno is one of my favorite games of all time. I love Uno. I could play Uno all the time. But I wrote in this notion as my Sunday Percy says, don't bring your house rules to my house when we are playing Uno. The reason why this table is broke is because somebody came into somebody else's house and tried to play their house rules. Or
that's because the house rules aren't
even worse, if you play
with
if you play with white people, they actually like play with the rules in the box, and it's like, who does that?
Yeah, and it says like no stacking and shit. You're like,
yeah,
nah,
like who does that? Like, no, everybody knows that Uno's rules are house rules. Whoever house you step into, it's like a baseball field. Baseball fields are all different, right? But we're still playing the same game. But you're playing by the house rules when you come into my baseball stadium. So that's all I'm gonna say, man. Like Uno is a great game, but if you want to avoid situations like this picture, and you visiting somebody's house to play Uno, don't bring your little house rules into somebody else's house because I guarantee you it will not work.
That's funny because my first thought was somebody slapped that +4, that draw 4 super hard. That's what came the table in. That was my thought. It was like, not me. Draw 4.
Draw 8, nigga.
Yeah, exactly. That's when they keep on stacking. Somebody had to eat that. Somebody had to eat like +26, and they was like, nah, slam the table.
That's what happened. That's how we got to the table. Somebody's got to eat +26.
Yeah, that's what happened for real. That's funny as hell. But no, I agree. I couldn't agree with more for sure. That's why it's highly important. If you don't play any game like that, yeah, you got to establish house rules before that shit gets started.
Or understand, understand. Like again, Monopoly's I feel like it's kind of the same thing, but Monopoly is just like you got to worry about more so cheating than like establishing rules because I feel like the rules are pretty set with Monopoly. Just like, bro, stop stealing from the bank, or you be getting tight because somebody's making trades that you be like, you can't make that, that's cheating, whatever, stuff like that. But,
yeah.
Either way, Uno. Shout out to Uno. I got a deck of cards of Uno. We need to play sometime. It's been a minute. But let's get into this show.
The show.
Doors opening. Step back to allow customers to exit.
Oh, I was Sam. You're my tag team partner.
The French fry throw. Moody coming off the top rope. This is the Wrestlemania podcast.
A weekly stroll through the avenue of wrestling.
Follow us on our socials. Do all of the engagement things. Like, comment, subscribe on the video. On Blue Sky, YouTube, TikTok, everything at the Wrestlemania.
Episode 39 of the Wrestling Re-Up podcast. We are about 13 episodes from 52. A whole fucking year. That's crazy that we've actually, maintained a level of consistency to be able to get this far, So just perhaps pat ourselves on the back just for even getting this far. You know what I'm saying? Like who would have thought? Like Paul Rudd said, who would have thought? Not us.
Right.
Welcome everyone to the Wrestling Re-Up podcast. It is the week of August 5th or Saturday right now, and we got AEW Dynasty tomorrow night, I believe. And typically what would be WrestleMania week, because WrestleMania would be this week. It is not. We have 2 more weeks of build.
Dude, I will say, obviously, for the book of wrestling this week, I was so annoyed. Just going through everything, because it's just, all right, I can't just choose WrestleMania everything. I try to stay away from WrestleMania, as easy as that is. You know what I mean?
WrestleMania season, you just can't waste all your shots. That's what it is, right? It's the same thing like any other week where it's like, I could put this as a fact, But I'm like, what
Yeah.
are we going to use next year? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and in WrestleMania, literally all the best matches from WrestleMania is what like the book of wrestling is for. They're gonna be brought up eventually. If it's not like during the season, it's fine. They'll be recognized.
Yeah. But nonetheless, we are still on the road to WrestleMania. And you pointed out that we have a lot of pop-up shows in the next.
Yeah.
I thought it was just April, but pretty much all the way out until at least August. We have
August,
like almost like what 8 shows? Just
Yeah.
you know, WWE has like 5, and then AEW has like 3 of them.
hmm
A lot of opportunity for me to cut into this this deficit.
Yeah, for sure.
But in order for us to for me to cut into the deficit, we need to get through the show so we can get to these AEW Dynasty predictions. So let's kick it off as we walk straight into the flagship store of Monday Night Raw, which is finally back in the United States. This is actually no, I'm incorrect. This was the last European show. This was in London. So
Okay.
the first US show of a major show was SmackDown, which was in Chicago last night. But yeah, let's kick it off. You got 2 primos. We agree on one of them.
Yeah.
One of them. I'm mixed on, but go ahead.
Cena and Cody, their interaction. Cena basically, I guess this would be the justification for turning heel effectively. You're
Mhm.
mediocre, Cody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, I don't bury talent. I am talent. You have no
Mhm.
business with that title, basically, type shit, which, as simple as that is for a heel, you know what I'm saying? That works for me because
Yeah.
it's Cena. We have been working this, or we've been waiting 20 years for it, or 17 years, whatever the exact, since Dr. Thugonomics. So it's working for me. And not to mention that we already know that's not John Cena can promo. And he reminds us again, but it's different when he's undressing you as a heel because we never get to hear it. Before it was always like fun and games and like rapping as Dr. Thugonomics, and he would like hit you at bars, but like he hit Cody with some bars, and that was no rap and no cap. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, dang, this was fire.
The bury talent, I don't bury talent, I bury mediocrity is a really great line.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, they really let Cody get off those. Or wait, he had the one F-bomb. They're really using that. I don't want to say stretching the PG, but they're making sure they're getting use out of it. Every week.
Yeah, I mean that's what
At least
on
in this deal.
Netflix. You can get away with it. You're not regulated by the FCC.
Exactly. Which this is what I was like looking forward to. But
At
it's
least I
funny
don't think
how
you
it's
are.
like it's interesting to know that it's you can see them towing the line. That's all I mean.
Mhm. I mean, even
still-
there's I mean, with the other primo that you have, like that's something that you always ask WWE to do.
Yeah.
And they gave that to you on a Monday on a regular Monday night show.
Yeah.
So, but no, the Cena stuff. I enjoyed it. Another week. I can understand people's issues with the totality of this, feud so far because it does seem like we kind of are not running on all cylinders here. I think especially this was the most connected John and Cody have been in the storyline as far as like what they're saying to each other. John Cena has been kind of talking to for the last couple of weeks. So for him to be direct to Cody and specifically talk to Cody really worked. And then, like you said, some of it, it's kind of generic heel things. But again, a lot of the things Cena's been saying the last few weeks has been facts. As generic it may be, it has been facts. It might be skewed with, because, you got to have the whole I believe in my own BS type of, heel kind of motivation. But a lot of what Cena's saying is true. A lot of what he said to Cody is true. And so I think that's what makes it still stand strong and primo. Though not stand strong, but I think that's what gives it the edge to go in primo. They still need to address the rock of it. They still need to address like why John Cena is doing this. Because right now it just seems like you're just like it does come off as he's a bit of a generic heel. Yeah. And not like this, like, and not someone that is like coming here with I don't. Yeah, it's missing something. There's a je ne sais quoi. I
Okay,
can't put my finger on it, but there's something where it just feels. It feels very surface level, and I feel like we can go deeper. That really unpacks the heelness of John Cena.
Yeah, I mean, Cody definitely did a little bit of that. I mean, I think it's like what he's doing as far as like the first 2 weeks of attacking the crowd, you know what I'm saying? Which is obviously simple heat that you can get. It is like basic stuff, but since it is Cena, it's elevated in that way. It's not like he's not rising to the cage. This is like the best generic stuff you're gonna get. And I would say it's like generic plus because generic isn't going to give you like these super barbs, you know, that they're trading between each other. Even when Cena was telling, you know, Cody that, you know, he's I forget what the exact rundown was, but he basically hit Cody with B6. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you handpicked something, spoiled Nepo baby. And then Cody hits him back with like, oh, I'm the one who's handpicked, but you weren't, like by a guy that ran this place for 40 years and we just pretend like and we don't talk about him anymore. I was just like, Cody, all right. I think that was bar of the whole thing. That was my favorite line of all of it. And ending on the crossroads really, it just needed this boost. Like you said, it wasn't on all cylinders. Like the rivalry, I think Cena as a heel was on all cylinders because we've been waiting for it and he's getting like John Cena sucks, you know, the second that the music hits. But now it feels like their hatred is directed at each other. And even hearing the explanation from John, like you stole my secrets and stuff like that after riding with me as the champion or during the time he was champion and he was riding with him. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Full circle moment, right? So great stuff.
Like I said, we got 2 more weeks. So it's like, you know, I think that's where this is the first time WrestleMania has been pushed out this far. So some of it's probably like working out some kinks because I think that's where it feels like we are kind of dragging, not dragging the storyline out, but it seems like we are moving at a slower pace than we found with a lot of these storylines too. I feel like it feels like, okay, like let's kind of get to the match with this already. Like how much do we need to tell? But I think the fact that, again, this is the first time that they've directly are trading barbs against each other and not, you know, talking to the crowd. We'll see what happens in these next 2 weeks. We'll see what happens on Monday. We'll see what happens, whatever, if they appear on SmackDown or in the following, you know, the Go Home Raw. But hopefully they, like, I'm again, the Rock aspect it's still confusing. Like, why did John Cena feel like he need to align with The Rock?
Yeah, that's still the question that, I mean, we still, like you said, we got 2 weeks, so you would hope that's answered within that time. And that's the only advantage to this storyline, because it is kind of surreal that it's like, oh yeah, today is the 5th right now. It is April 5th right now, so it's like, this would be like WrestleMania. We should be watching
WrestleMania technically will be, the first night of WrestleMania is 14 days from now.
Yeah, so we still got another 2 weeks. This is, it is not disorienting, but I don't know, out of the norm for sure.
It is disorienting. It is very much disorienting.
Yeah.
Let's get into your other primo, which I don't have it on my Notion doc, but it's not because I didn't like it. It was just more I was debating what I felt about it. Like not that I didn't like it. I was like, is this primo or mid? Right now, I'll probably put it at primo. So go ahead. I'll let you take the run.
It's primo just for the motivation. This was obviously the follow-up from last week when Jimmy challenged Gunther and slapped the taste out of his mouth backstage, and we knew Gunther was going to make him feel that. And man, Jimmy put all the effort in the world in. Like, even when he went up for Uso Splash, I didn't think he was going to hit that, but it definitely ended as we would expect with a brutal ass whooping. Jay coming down for the save, and also Jay coming down for the save, also getting put down and handcuffed to the bottom rope or second rope, enough where he couldn't do anything about Gunther choking the life out of his brother, his big brother at that. So similar to like what Kaz would say, or very appropriate, this was an anime death, you know, for the rise of, like, just to remind us how dangerous Gunther was. Just similarly, you know, in AEW, they had the anime death of Bryan Danielson to show us how dangerous Death Wires was. But I think that this was definitely way more needed. It's like for Gunther, more so than anybody else, I think. Because not to say that he's in a holding period, but I do think looking at the totality of his reign, or the important part or the storytelling part of his reign, it starts with like the loss to Cody, at ground
Crown
crown
Jewel.
Crown Jewel. I was about to say Crown Royal. I've been drinking Crown Royal Peach. He was down in Atlanta with the Crown Royal Peach. But yeah, and like losing his confidence, and then up until recently, with the stumble from Jay, it's like clearly this struggle of confidence between the both of them, and Jay is just now on track to get his confidence back just in time for Mania.
I think that was out because of the fire alarm last week, but I didn't talk about the Jay stuff and Jimmy, but I like the fact that the Usos returned last week. Do you think that was a planned botch?
The initial one, no, but it does look, because it happens twice. That happens. It was like a spear crossbody thing that he hit. I don't think that was planned because it was too ugly to be planned. It wasn't like, it was more so like kind of like when Fatu or Bray Wyatt, they would do like their version of crossbody, but it's more so throwing like the upper torso and they spin out through it.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was kind of like that. But it didn't have the twist, and it was like, what is that? Like clearly everybody like knew it was supposed to be a spear. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay. So it's a nice little, zig to a zag where it's like, oh yeah, this was just a botch, but you turn it into storyline.
Or yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I watched it, I was like, he could be professional enough just because it looked like it was like, you're popping up out of your 3-point stance, and then as he's pushing off, it looked
literally
like he lost his foot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be like a false start if you were at like a track meet or some shit, like basically. Which was because obviously, I mean, these guys are all professionals, so like a spear's supposed to happen there, and the fact that Gunther's like goes to amateur wrestling, puts him in a front face lock, and it's like, you ain't getting the spear off. I was like, okay, I like it. And they run it back again. That he's still slipping on his spears. He's done it 2 weeks in a row. So, but yeah,
I agree with you that Gunther needed this more. I think again, I don't think Gunther's reign has been bad. I think it's just been like, okay, cool. Like again, we've talked about this for months. It's like maybe Gunther might be, when his title reigns, it's more about the length of the reign rather than
the number of reigns.
Yeah, or the number of reigns or something like that. Not saying he doesn't want to have quality matches. I also think this is his second title, technically. Second time winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Because, he had lost it to Damian Priest and then had won it back.
No, that was no, he's only a one-time champion.
He's only a one-time champ? Okay.
Yeah, because Damian held it all the way through till SummerSlam. Damian held it till SummerSlam, and then Gunther's had it since then.
Because Drew McIntyre took it off of
Drew.
Seth?
Wait, sorry, Seth. Yes, that was Mania. That was Drew versus Seth. Damian cashed in at Mania. He's the champion. Gunther beats him at SummerSlam. That's how we got here now.
Seth lost twice at WrestleMania.
Which is why I told you he's winning this match. Like, that's what I said.
I'm totally blanking on. Did he lost twice last year?
He lost twice, bro.
He lost to Drew McIntyre and he
lost the tag team match and he lost his title. Like, that's what I'm saying. That just
proves that he is stacking these dudes. He's stacking these dudes.
When he told Roman, or not, he told, I forget, don't make me regret what I sacrificed for you. He said that to Cody.
Yeah.
What I sacrificed for you last year. I mean, we on a whole different storyline, but yeah, just to rejigger your memory, that's how it happened.
That's why I said I'm glad I said that he was stacking both CM Punk and goddamn Roman Reigns.
I told you, he needs to win the most. I'm picking. So it's still 2 weeks, but I'm picking him. But anyway.
But yeah, I guess the reason why I felt in the middle on this is because as just the individual segment, it's a primo. I guess ever since Jay won the Royal Rumble, I was just like, okay, bro, go ahead and just win your title. Just win it. Like, there's nothing you can do to tell me that you're not going to win in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where I'm like, okay, yeah. Like, there's nothing against these two men. I think they're doing the best that they can do to, and it's not saying there's a bad storyline. I just think for me, I'm like, I've already in my mind And I could be completely wrong. Maybe Gunther ends up retaining. Who knows? But in my mind, I'm already sold on the fact that Jey Uso, there's no way Jey Uso is losing at WrestleMania. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is just kind of like, it's building up the story. Okay. Like, Jimmy, I'm going to have my brother in my corner. Last year, we were fighting at WrestleMania against one another. Now, I got my brother in my corner, and I'm about to win the world title. Unless, maybe Jimmy throws in the white towel. Maybe Jimmy comes out with a super kick. I don't know. Like, but right now, if I had to put my money down, 90% Jimmy. No, 90% Jay.
Yeah.
Winning at WrestleMania. Mids?
Yep, for sure.
You want to start or you want me to go?
You go. You got two.
I'll start with the easy one. The main event. Io Sky, Rhea Ripley. Great match, predictable ending. Not much you can say about that. Bianca looked great in her referee outfit.
Yeah, crop top ref.
I like the fact that they went to the old school referee outfit rather than like the new one. And I'm like, okay, if you're gonna have like special guest referee and they're gonna be like active wrestlers, if you're just gonna have special guest referee, give them the old referee uniforms. I don't want to see the new ones. The new ones, those are for the legit refs.
Yeah.
For the special guests, give them the Foot Locker uniforms.
I mean, that's what we think of when we think of referees. Like, that's what they always got on. It's the Foot Locker.
It's funny. I thought about that. But I'm like, but the NBA, they wear gray. The NBA wear gray shirts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but in baseball, they wear black polos. Yeah.
True. The umpires and everything, yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was, again, you can't say anything about the match. You knew how this was going to happen. We're on a path to a triple threat. I'm glad that they didn't, my dumbass goddamn Adam Pearce wasn't like, oh, well, your name's on the contract. That means you got to be in the match. I'm glad that there was something that, got us the ball rolling and to be like, okay, we know that this is not going to end. We know Io's not going to lose this match. We know that this match is not going to have an actual outcome. It has to end in a no DQ. And so it was
or
good.
in a DQ, yeah. I get what you're saying. Because if anything, she gets a A for effort. She was trying, but like the execution was at like a B. Like, you can't get physical with the superstars. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Rhea's gonna go ahead and stomp Io out in the corner, she knows she got a 5 count. So you ain't got to like wrestle her off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how you end up getting, and I don't know what it is about the zebra shirt, but obviously, I mean, we joke about this, but like refs always have 1 HP. So it must be just the shirt. It's like the ref shirts that like, it's a cursed item. It makes you, I don't know.
Bianca got thrown out the ring, and then it was just like Earl Hebner just died. I'm like,
and it's like she's not, like you say, John Cena of women's division. Right. It's like, bro, come on now. And taking a missile drop kick and rolling all the way out of the ring. It's like, yo, come on now. Like, we know you tougher than that. I've seen you hit a KOD on Nia Jax. Like, let's be real. Like,
that's the beauty of wrestling. Just say, I love how Bianca the entire time she was just like talking to Pat McAfee, and then now Staples is like, hey, look, I'm practicing. 1, 2. Like, he's like, oh, nope. 2 count. And I was like, okay, I see. He was like, I've never reffed before in my life. I don't know what to do.
Because I liked how some of her counts were just off. Some like her, when they were outside the ring, it did feel like her 10 count was pretty fast. Yeah. That was almost Ring of Honor speed. Like Ring of Honor, they have the old school like 20 count. So they're just counting normal. 1, 2, 3. Like, she was going low key like that fast. And I'm like, oh, we're not used to this in WWE. 1 second for a ref is actually like 7 seconds. Like, for the drama. But ending with a double count out, for sure, predictable. But in storyline, it also makes sense too, because Bianca lost her temper. She didn't give Rhea a fair shake at the title, which I don't know why Adam Pearce would think that she would. Yeah. After you know that these women can't stand each other. I guess you can trust Beyonce. Or I said Beyonce. Bianca. You can trust Bianca more so than anybody. Yeah, basically. She's wrestling Beyonce. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's the most trustworthy, if anything. So that does actually kind of track. If we were to go off character basis, Adam Pearce is like, I can trust Bianca to like do this, like call it down the middle.
You know, Adam Pearce is. Dumbass.
My mid that I got is the Judgment Day. Getting Penta's shoulders on the mat during a tag match. You know, it's less impactful because it's a tag match, but it is still visual. He's not indestructible, right? So
this is, I believe, his first pinfall.
Yeah, it's his first pinfall. Yeah, first time his shoulders have been on the mat since he's come in, and this was due to I think of just classic ring storyline of like, you know, Braun and Penta. Guess what? They're not a tag team, and Dom and Finn are friends. Actually, you know what I'm saying? They actually got more of that chemistry together, which why it makes sense when, you know, the chaos starts to unveil itself. Why you get an accidental spear from Braun Breaker into Penta. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
If I was to think of, you know, before this match, who would I have winning? I definitely would have had the faces winning, though. But I think that's a good thing for the Heat going into Mania if we're predicting a fatal four-way between all of these men.
Yeah, and Judgment Day definitely needed a win.
Yeah,
you know, of some sort. Obviously, they have like storylines that, you know, conflict between what's going on with, like, you know, their inner family, but. No, it was a good match. I came actually away more of like, man, I know this probably won't happen. It might happen, but, you know, especially with Rey Fenix now officially being a part of the WWE roster, I'm like, man, Penta and Braun Breaker are not a bad tag team. I know we talk about not wanting to have like Franken teams, but I'm like, man, ain't this just like a bigger version of Fraxium?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, I see what you're saying there. Like, just the difference in styles specifically, but it works so well. Yeah, if they get some more chemistry, that could be interesting for sure.
So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And, you know, we'll see. But again, I still think a lot of this is, I don't even know what's happening with the IC title.
Honestly, that's what's interesting is that I think we all are invested in all of these guys. I mean, Braun is already a two-time. Has Finn held the IC title before? He's never had the IC title before, has he?
He did. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a forever ago. I'm looking it up. But we care about all these guys because it's similar to my thought with like Asuka, you know, 2 years ago, is kind of Finn now. I mean, men are obviously on a different timeline. You know, they can wrestle till like, you know, mid-50s.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yeah, I know Finn is right now. He is 43. 43. Actually, he's gonna be 44 this year. We want to give him another moment at some point, right? Is it gonna be a Mania moment? Is it gonna be a SummerSlam? Is it gonna be, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't have to be like the world title, obviously, but we know that's what every like true wrestler's goal is. You know what I mean? So it's like, I like the way the story goes for all of them, honestly.
I can see Finn being moved to SmackDown after like getting kicked out of Judgment Day or something like that, and then end up going for the US title. Or maybe, I mean, that's the thing going with SmackDown, especially with the you know, the undisputed title on that show. It's like, if you can't even get your name in the heavyweight championship conversation, don't even think about sniffing in the goddamn undisputed title.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Damian Priest, like, technically he's in the undisputed title circle. You barely made it in the club, bro.
Yeah, he's two-time IC champion, Finn.
Okay, and that's no disrespect to Damian. That's more of just like where the WWE undisputed title is in relation to, you know, it's just another plateau of like, you know, storyline and characters and stuff like that. So, not saying that they can't get there. It's just the fact that right now, when you got names like Cody, Roman, Punk, The Rock, it feels weird to be like, oh yeah, Finn Balor's there too. It feels weird to say Solo or Jacob might be there, and they have blood connections. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I don't know what I want for Finn. Right now, if you're saying that these four men are going to be in a fatal four-way for the IC title, I think Dominic wins it.
Yeah, I think he would be the favorite, right? I mean, he's one. I would probably still would keep Finn on Raw, but one of them two is going to win the title, and that'll be the wedge that drives it between them, because you got to have a Dominic face turn coming down the line at some point in time. That's really what I'm timing on, so that's why I would have kind of what I have Finn there, that's why it's giving him like sort of an extra percentage in my head. And last time he was champion, he lost the IC title to Shinsuke at Extreme Rules 2019. The next week was the debut of the Fiend taking his head off. So that's the last time that he's held a singles title. So we're going on 6 years. Yeah, 5 years, going on 6 years.
That's like
so that's where it's like, yeah, similarly where it's like, okay, maybe we can give him this last bit. That'll be his, WrestleMania moment. And I'm at the World Championship, not the Undisputed, because we got Jay and Gunther
yeah. But I'm saying like you've been on Raw for so long that I'm like maybe you switch over to SmackDown. But then that's where I ran into my conundrum of like, well, again, if you on Raw and you can barely even sniff the heavyweight championship, level. What makes you think going over to SmackDown and messing with the Undisputed title, like you ain't even near that?
Yeah, no, he's not. You need to stay on Raw. Like, yeah, I would have probably Finn winning, and then that's the catalyst for a Dom face turn at like SummerSlam or something. Like Dom wins it at SummerSlam, so at least Finn can have a decent reign, and we can see the slow face turn of him and like the breakdown of Judgment Day. That's what I would have right now. But I think that's enough. That's enough for them. I didn't mean to spend that too much on them. But you got Tyler Bacon, new Catch Republic back.
Yeah. This is quick and simple. Welcome back, Tyler Bate. It's been like 5 months, something like that. Like I forgot what was the specific injury. I feel like it was a foot injury, but I can't exactly remember. But I remember we saw it and we're like, damn. And then, Pete Dunne had to go solo for a few bits. And so to see Tyler Bate come back was a genuine surprise for me. I wasn't expecting it. And then it's glad to see that, okay. I mean, I hate that they lost, but again, if you're going against the New Day and it's for a number one contenders title match and the New Day have been, in kayfabe as well, have been, working, on a more consistent basis than you guys literally just reconnecting for the first time in months. Okay, fine. I'm fine with New Catch Republic losing in this scenario, but ideally, I hope that New Catch Republic adds to the revitalization of the tag team division. That's happening.
Yeah.
So
that's where you said 5.
Basically, but my soliloquy. Go ahead.
Yeah, you said 5 months. I was gonna say 5 years. It feels like I've seen Tyler Bate in forever. You know what I'm saying? The big strong boy, like. If anything, it just made me miss Trent Seven, like his original tag team partner, like back in NXT UK, back when they were Mustache Mountain. Like such a good tag team name. Like, I fucking love that stuff. But yeah, it's cool to see Pete Dunne not just being also a I guess just a measuring stick for people for the most part. Like he's a TV feud for people for the most part. He is more valuable in a tag team or in a faction for sure when it comes to the main roster. But I think that's it for Raw this week.
Yeah. Think
all right, cool.
We can start making our way over to the bodega, but there is a bit of current event I think that you posted.
Yeah, I did. I called this. I try to make this funny. It's the Mick Foley reenacting his entrance music because I'm sure you remember his the original Mankind music. That at the very beginning you hear the tires screeching and then a car accident. You see the car just flips over multiple times.
Yeah.
Well, I saw TMZ had posted they caught up with Mick Foley, who apparently got run over by a truck in his car. He posted this April 1st, and this is from Mick Foley with a picture of the car that he was in. I have no idea how I'm still walking around after this accident. I'm in the hospital right now, and I'm sore from my knees to my neck, including a minor concussion. The idea that someone would be in an accident like this and walk away with only soft tissue injury makes me feel like someone was looking out for me. Thank you all who sent me well wishes. And yeah, I just posted that because I saw the picture and I was just like, bruh.
Yeah, I literally I'm looking at this for the first time right now, and I'm like, geez, like,
yeah,
crazy.
I thought it was, since it's April 1st, I thought it was a prank. I was like, would Mick Foley prank about like his health? You know what I'm saying? But no, this is legit. And yeah, Mick Foley's doing okay though, but he somehow survived being in basically a crumpled beer can of a car. If you were to look at this,
Yeah.
I can't tell what kind of car or frame that this is. You know what I'm saying? This was
It's
clearly
OD.
like an 18
Like, it's
wheeler.
crazy to like look at that picture and be like, oh, that's April 1st and it is April 5th. And that dude is
Yeah.
standing perfectly fine. Like he literally just wasn't in that car.
Yeah, and he said minor
That's
concussion.
wild.
That's all he got, just a concussion. And it's like, I remember the top comment I saw was like, "Yo, we know as wrestling fans, like Mick Foley has had a concussion for the last 30 years. He has a permanent concussion. Like, so the fact that he's walking away is like still like mind blowing. But yeah,
Shout out to Foley,
good
man.
shit. Yeah, shout out. You take those
Walk-
bumps, it's like, yo, nothing can kill him. You know what I'm saying? Nothing can kill Mick Foley.
let's get into this. Walk into the bodega. NXT. Biggest thing to happen on the show. You have it with Primo. I have it mid-rising.
Yeah.
Ricky Saints knocks off Shawn Spears and becomes the new North American NXT champion.
How long was that reign from Shawn Spears? Like 3 weeks?
2 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's why it's a primo. Because I'm like, we got a whole faction, the culling and shit, just to like take down the D'Angelo family, which I was into that stuff. So I'm like, all right, same thing. Now it's a heel faction. Ricky Saint's gonna have to go through the faction. No, just take care of business right now, which is why this is also my champion of the week. I was struggling, like trying to find one. I had two like good ideas, and this is the one that I came up with. But yeah, for the surprise of it all, yeah, Ricky. I did not have him hitting Rochambeau clean.
Yeah.
Especially with everybody being around the ring and stuff. I'm just like, all right. I'm not mad at it at all. It's just like, because Shawn Spears is also the vet, where we know that like he's just here to put guys over at this point. But I'm like, but you got to put them over like strongly. You know what I mean? I would like a story, but it's like also the visual of us knowing who he is, like the hype of him. You know what I'm saying? Even there's like still like parts of the crowd that accidentally will chant Ricky Starks. Like you hear Ricky Starks in there sometimes, but I don't know. It's the surprise of it for me. That's why it's the primo, like the primo of like the whole week for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a surprise. Again, the fact that like Shawn Spears only just won the title a couple weeks ago, and then just loses clean in the middle of the ring. You know, like first opportunity Ricky Saints gets, he gets the title. So the reason it's not so much the match itself; it's more of just there's been a lot of title changes within the last month of WWE, and so it seems it's unfair, but I'm not saying really dragging it down. It's just like, okay, man, like there's a lot of title changes. That's what that is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of loses a little bit of its zeal just for the fact that so much is happening. But it is interesting. But I mean, I'd also keep it on. I'd also keep it in the mids because I'm like, while I was surprised that he won it off of Spears, I'm like, okay, like I assume Shawn Spears is still going to be around the vicinity around the North American Championship because again, like he would feel like he won his title back. But we did get Ethan Page coming out immediately afterwards and attacking him, and then like, all right, so you get Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks. Possibly you get Shawn Spears in there. All right, like, well, I'm curious to see where it heads. I think the thing that drags it down a little bit for me is just the fact that it's kind of another title change within a sea of title changes.
It's just it's the most recent one. Yeah. I get you.
That's no fault of the match its own. Like, it's like, please give him the title, but it's like, I think it just loses a little bit of its zeal.
Yeah. Hitting him with, I think, like I said, Twisted Grin just works for me for Ethan Page also. Like hitting him with that. Like, because I don't know. I just felt like we just speed ran the culling, or like really quick. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's one of those things where we got like, if this was like prestige TV, we just watched 3 episodes. You know what I'm saying? Just like in this, Ricky Saints, like, and having like Ethan Page like come up and attack him and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, sure. So yeah, that was my primo. We agreed on the other mids that we had. So Trick is not part of the Dark State. You have that written up. What's your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, surprised. Like, when they had their whole interaction of Trick, Obafemi, and Javon, and
Mhm.
you see the Dark State come out as soon as Javon and I believe Obafemi were fighting, and then Trick is just like in the corner, and like the Dark State just starts whooping both Javon and Obafemi up, eventually kicking him out the ring, and then all of a sudden you just see Trick Williams surrounded by a bunch of Dark State people, and then at this moment in my mind I'm like, okay, this is when Trick is like, all right, yeah,
Reveals it. Yeah,
I
the
got my
squad with me.
family and stuff like that, and then they jumped him and they did all the power bombs and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess the Dark State, that's a genuine surprise. So I'm like, okay, like while you guys have been kind of boring for the last like month or two since y'all been here, I'm like, okay, the fact that you are not with Trick, I'm like, gives me a bit of intrigue to see, like, I guess what are you, who are you guys, who are you connected to, if you're connected with anybody, and if you're not, then who amongst y'all is the leader, if per se,
Yeah,
unless you
who
want
are
to be
we gonna
Judgment
make?
Day. Yeah.
That's the exact reason why I would have this like mid stable, and because that's whatever. Like you brought that up to me that that was the theory that he was actually leading them, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. That's pretty
Hmm.
interesting, and the fact that that didn't happen, it almost puts a pit in my chest. As long as this has been happening, we saw their first appearance when we saw them at Vengeance Day, you know, 2 months ago or over two
Hmm.
months ago, and without that reveal, it just I have a pit in my stomach of like retribution again. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we just got these guys together and we don't know actually what we're doing with them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, we're off-brand shielding it basically, and because we still don't have an attachment or a serious storyline attachment to any character that we actually know on the roster, this is they it's stable because I'm going to give them a chance to stick the landing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you said, if there is somebody who rises up, or if there is a reveal down the line, cool. But let's get
And
there.
I feel like there was a segment also this week where like the D'Angelo family were looking into the Dark State.
Okay.
I might have missed the segment. I need to go back and rewatch, but I feel like there was something of them kind of looking
Oh,
into like
I
who
missed
they
that
were
segment.
related to as well. So yeah, I'll go back and bring that up. But the other bit of mids, I guess. Well, I guess I would have it mid rising,
Mhm.
maybe mid stable. Stephanie Vacquier vacates the North American Women's Championship after one title defense and 2 weeks of holding it. And now there is a tournament to get not tournament, but I guess we have qualifiers. Two of
Yeah,
them have already happened, which Kalani Jordan beat Roxanne Perez, which was a great match. Surprising kind
and
of finish.
Zarya
Not
beat
surprising, but and
Zarya
Zavaria
beat
beat
Lash Legend.
Lash Legend. So 2 out of the 4 have been established, and we have a 6-way ladder match at Stand and Deliver for the Women's North American Championship. But not surprised Stephanie gave it up. I kind of like that, at least like she had one defense, and it
That's
wasn't
exactly what
just
I said
like,
when she was champ. I was
yeah,
like, we need at least one. I said it that week. I was like, at
yeah,
least defend it once so we can see how badass you are. And I think she was listening to this pod when she came in and
yeah.
listened to us for 15 seconds.
I would
You
love
know,
that. I would love that.
but yeah, she was like, "Hey, I'm the baddest woman on the planet right now. You other bitches can fight over this the halfway title, you know."
Yeah,
So I'm cool with that. And then really, the only thing that came to my mind, like during this point, it wasn't even like the women's division in NXT itself. I thought of Julia, and I was like, "Dang, get well soon." You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
because that's the reason that we're in this situation in the first place. And I don't think her injury was ever disclosed, or at least I never heard exactly what it was. But
Yeah, but they work so often that it could just be in a accumulation of injuries that eventually had to give her some time off. So
yeah,
um
this just put. I'm gonna go ahead and jump to Shake for just a split second, or I think this
mhm.
would be it right here. in the qualifiers, we had, Lash lose to Zarya, which is fine.
Yeah.
But in the other one, Kaylani beating Roxanne, that is what I expected. But at the risk of I just don't want to raise my blood pressure, that I'm just going to keep this in shake. But I understand that timing is everything. But this is why I say, like, it's better for you to, like, you can just give people time off. I would rather not have Roxanne losing when we know she's about to go up because it's cooling her off. Like, I understand, like, you want to send them up to the main roster in a crescendo. You know what I mean? Like, when they're most impactful. And now it's just like similar to Lash. I mean, Lash is lesser so because she is a tag competitor. But they're just overcooked. They're overcooked. Like,
I
yeah,
would.
I understand. I would even think, like, of course she's in her 20s, like she's in her fucking prime. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I don't want her to wrestle or like not see her, but I kind of like she's done everything that there can be. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and beat a dead horse real quick with Roxanne Perez, but like if anything, just keep she shouldn't be losing. I don't know. Like at least not
I think there's a way for her because
heavily, yeah.
I understand that like we've been projecting her to jump to the main roster in the very near future, and it could possibly quite happen. I wouldn't be surprised if she stayed a little longer, and not saying that she needs the training or anything like that. I think it's more so it's like, okay, you move to the main roster. There's a good chance that she might get lost within the shuffle.
For sure.
It's not any fault of her. It's just how the depth of the roster and whatnot, especially when you move up to the main roster, the main level like that. And so keep her in NXT for at least till maybe August, right?
This is
and let her get the women's North American Championship. So she's basically held every title in the NXT division, and then on top of that, wouldn't it be like someone as who they gave I forgot they gave. It's basically like letting her give like credibility to the title. Not saying that like Kalani and Fallon Henley and Stephanie Vaquer haven't, but like just I'm blanking on right now. Roxanne is she's the prodigy. She is like the epitome of like NXT women's division right now. And so to say that like, okay, it's like giving Bailey the opportunity to kind of run with it. And it's like, yeah. Like having Roxanne hold that title makes the history of that belt just even more legitimate. So she can hold, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what the rest of the matches are if they have it set, but let's say they have 5 of the spots of the 6-woman ladder match set up, right? That last spot could be a match between all of the people that lost to fight for that last spot, right?
Sure,
And
it could be, yes.
And let Roxanne get into that last spot, and so then you got Zarya, Kalani Jordan, the 2 other people, and then 3 other people, and then Roxanne Perez, and then Roxanne wins the ladder match.
I'm tired of him. Get off of my screen. Roxanne, like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like this, I might as well. This would be Trick and Roxanne Reggie, or I'm like, because the reveal, it's the combination of both things, where it's like, yes, that could happen. There could be a 5-woman way for the last spot. That could happen, sure. But also the combination of that and like you were the one that brought up, like I said, the theory that Trick was leading them, and he's not. And I told you at that point in time, I was like, okay, how long is that going to get you? You said August, which is SummerSlam, and that's not the case. Get out of here. I don't need to see either one of you. And Roxanne, like I said, maybe we're doing an every other week thing with her. Like, obviously she should be relevant, but like, I don't know. It's just tough. We're 3 months past the point of me being like, all right, y'all are done, right? Y'all are done, right? So, yeah, update to that. Those are both Reggie now. Now I think about it.
If it gets past the draft and she's still on NXT, then I will understand your your
Yeah.
qualms. My last shake is so WWE has teenagers. They
Mhm.
got like some 16-year-olds that popped up backstage talking smack to Fraxium.
Yep.
Roxanne walks by and they fucking domestic abused her with their eyes. Or at
I
least
mean, they assaulted. Yeah, they visually assaulted her.
they
That's what
visually
they did.
assaulted her.
Yeah, visually assaulted. Yeah.
And then somehow got a match with Fraxium next week. So I didn't even know. Like I'm joking when I say teenagers. They look like goddamn teenagers.
No, they do.
But,
They're fucking baby faces for sure. Like, and like the one with the upswept hair. Like he literally looks like he's on crew team for Princeton.
yeah.
Like that's exactly like he comes from old money, pop collar, all that shit. But I love their
I've never
debut.
seen
Have
them
you
until
seen
this
them?
moment. I've never seen them
Listen,
to this
I see.
moment.
So you haven't watched Evolve?
I've never
Okay.
watched them. I was like, who are these? They popped up on NXT. I'm like, who are these teenagers?
No,
When
that's
did
dope.
WWE started hiring 16-year-olds? I mean, I know y'all did it with Jeff Hardy, but that was like a different age. You know what I'm saying?
And he was lying at that point in time. Like, but with that being said, one of the best team names right now, like in all of wrestling, like for what they epitomize, their name is Swipe Right. And we, like you said, they look like teenagers. They are Gen Z. They're just the epitome of Gen Z tag team right now. That's clearly just their character. You know what I'm saying? They're just thirsty. They're just bros. That's all it is. And Swipe Right. It's honestly, I high key like when I heard that name and I saw them. You know who I want. You know who I want them to like team up with in a faction.
Pretty deadly.
Yes, but on the NXT level, Shanti the Adonis. Like just have them macking on women, like, and then that'll be another strife like between like Carmen and him. Like he's like, you out here with those young men, like with all these other bitches in your face or some shit. I don't know, but I can just see it.
I would like that because like Ashanti the Adonis goes for the snow bunnies, and then Swipe Right they be going for they caramel mocha lattes. Huh?
The Meta Girls.
Man, nah.
He's like, no, I can see it right now.
Whichever one of these joints starts going after Jakara, we throwing hands.
I was gonna say it's gonna be dope as shit when that pop collar kid, the one that was doing most of the talking, when he steps to Lash. That's what I want to see. This is. I don't know if I can handle this much woman. This is a whole lot of women.
He's gonna get his ass kicked by Trick. I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, I just want to see that segment when they're backstage and you see the Meta Girls like, getting ready for their match, working out or something. You just see him go like this. Like look over the glasses, like, God damn. Like and then Ashanti is like, bro, you don't want to do it. I'm telling you, I got your back. And he's like, man, I'm that dude. I get any woman. And then he gets his ass whipped by Trick. And then Ashanti comes back over and he's like, see, I told you, I got your back. Let me go ahead and show you the ropes around here. There you go. Now we got our lover boy faction in NXT.
So I guess you haven't seen them either. That was the first time you came across them too?
On NXT, yeah, but they are, obviously Evolved. I've seen them, yeah.
Okay. So you're a bit familiar with them. Okay.
Yeah. This is my first time hearing them talk. This is it. But I like the segment for them to just come up and be like, hey, you're basically our Hardys. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are the greatest tag team ever, So I was like, okay, that's cool. It makes sense how you can just, flattery your way into a match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, I don't know who these kids are and how y'all got backstage.
Just some stowaways, like for real.
Your parents know where you're at.
It's
like remember when you were in the kid in the mall and like a Macy's or some shit like that, and you got like disappeared from your mom or whatever, and then you had to run up to like one of the customer service desks, be like, "Can you tell my mom where I'm at?"
I did that in Food Lion when I was like 7. Oh yeah. But Swipe Right, I love that name. Let's say get bitches. That's clearly what they're trying to do. Like they just swiped it right on everything.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's it.
Anything
for the
bodega? Okay. We are making pretty good time. Let's let's make our way over to the coffee shop. And as we are making our way in, we got some news. Things we kind of predicted, but I guess it officially came through the pipeline. Rusev / Miro has signed with WWE. slash re-signed. I don't know if it's really re-signing if you left and came back. So I guess you just signed again. But yeah,
Yeah.
Rusev. I don't know if it's Rusev or Miro, but
Miro's, I
either
mean, his
way,
real name is better. So
yeah. But Rusev Day
Miro
it was
Day. You can
over.
say Miro Day.
But I'm saying Rusev Day was over. But again, it doesn't matter to me. The fact that we're getting him back is going to be fun. So
I think that's the only point of contention is like, which name do you want him to have? I want Miro personally. Like we got Sean Spears coming back as Sean Spears when he was
if you want to
Ty
get away
Dillinger
from
before.
the Russianness of it,
Yeah, or the Bulgarian. Yeah,
well, the Rusev aspect I feel like is very tied to it's very tied to the Lana,
Mhm.
nationalist kind of character that he had, and I think Miro would allow him to be a little bit more of a fighter, a brawler.
Would
You know what I'm saying? Like
would
it's a
hope.
little, it leans a little bit more MMA than
Mhm.
like a Rusev.
Yeah, and honestly, I would hope that he just brings basically straight up his same gimmick that he has right now, which is when he
Mhm.
revived as the Redeemer. Like the Redeemer was fire. Like I will redeem them in the name of my God and everything. Like basically a holy warrior. He's a paladin, just whooping
Yeah.
ass. And I'm just like, yo, that's fucking scary. Like Miro in the name of the Lord is terrifying. Like
Yeah.
forget which player.
I wonder what the copyright law kind of things that Tony has on his wrestlers
Yeah,
if they can take their gimmicks and stuff like that.
true. Maybe not the Redeemer, but that same thing for
Yeah.
sure. Like I said, I mean, AEW is the king of the indies. They're way more likely to like have the they have that open door policy a lot more
Mhm.
versus like the ownership, you know what I'm saying? Like so I would think Miro probably owns Miro. He probably owns his own name, but that's just a guess. I don't know. Wait, I'm looking forward to a happy Miro day or a happy Rusev day. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Raw
If
or
we get
SmackDown? I think he's
how's
Raw.
that?
If you got Aleister Black on SmackDown, because if Zelina Vega's on SmackDown, Aleister Black is probably gonna be
Hmm.
on SmackDown. I would assume Miro's on Raw.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna that's a good just assumption, keep the married, couples together.
Yeah. And
I ain't mad
I
at
saw
that.
Meltzer say like, "Oh, there was no word of like there apparently Lana was not there at the signing of the contract." I'm like, why would she be there? They're divorced.
Yeah, right. She's not part of the act anymore. Like she could do other shit. Her name is
And
CJ Perry.
even if
Also,
they
it's not
were,
even Lana.
yeah, and even if they were like say like they have like they can actually be on screen characters
Like
together.
working. Yeah,
They don't need to
working
be in the same
relationship.
place to fucking sign a contract.
Yeah.
Like Meltzer, I don't understand how people just read that stuff and be like, "Oh yeah, this is news." But
But this is when you look at things through a WWE lens, like even calling her Lana when her name is CJ Perry. And like you said, they're
yeah,
not even together anymore. So much time has passed from the time of the Bulgarian brute Rusev debuting with Lana and them being nationalists and all that stuff. But
I say I probably messed it up and said Lana, but he probably said CJ Perry. But either way, the
oh,
fact that
yeah.
like you're connecting it and being like, oh, because Miro is signing with WWE, what does that mean for CJ Perry? And it's like, not a goddamn thing. Like, those are two separate people. Just because they were married at one point doesn't mean that they're fucking tied to the hip every goddamn time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like grade school level thinking. But again, look at our society today.
Yeah,
Let's get into this bodega to this coffee shop. AEW
for
Dynamite
sure.
go home show for Dynasty this weekend. Um, let's start with the main thing is Swerve. And I think,
Yeah.
in my opinion, this was a Swerve focused show.
Mm-hmm.
So the Swerve for me, as far as like the entire AEW the Dynamite episode, the Swerve storyline I think threaded well throughout the entire show for me. That I think this was a really good episode for Swerve. But my question, I have this is mid rising, just because I'm like, how does one know that they deserve to get their house burned down?
That's what I loved about this. This is me saying he said the quiet part out loud. How do you know? I think this is Swerve admitting that he jumped the shark in their rivalry. Because what would you say is the point that sets it off? Do you know? Like, what's the point when it's like, all right, this ain't normal. This ain't like we working anymore. This is like, I hate you. This was Swerve breaking into Hangman's house and cutting the promo over his child. Swerve was at fault for that. And Hangman went off the rails after that. After he broke into his house, that's when Hangman went whole heel turn, not even really healing, but we were just cheering for Swerve at that point in time. They're both tweeners, really. But that's when we started cheering Swerve, which was like, holy shit, this guy is a fucking savage. And Hangman was like, nah, bro, that's not copacetic at all. Y'all are okay with this? You know what I'm saying?
But
and
again,
it's like,
yeah, he broke into his house.
Circle.
But to say like, yeah, because I broke into your house, I deserve to have my house burned down.
But that's the thing.
I don't know how anybody can say I deserve to have my house burned down. It's such a wild sentence.
Right. I agree with you on that sentence. What he's actually, I'll translate. I deserved the repercussions that you gave me. Because there's like when you do something to somebody, you can't be like, oh no, bro, you ODing. Like, I didn't even mean it like that. You can't control how somebody responds to you. Like, you can't control that in an unsanctioned match that this man is going to go upside your head with a steel chair. You could probably expect it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be tight at this man burning your house down when you got inside his house, his sanctum of safety, and cut a promo on the Next Generation, bro. While the baby's sleeping. Like, man,
we watch enough wrestling. This ain't the first time somebody broke into somebody's house.
Hey,
Hangman technically overreacted.
That's what I'm saying. You can't say that.
Austin brought a gun into goddamn Brian Pillman's house. He ain't burned down his house. Brian Pillman didn't burn down Austin's house. Triple H, went into Randy Orton's house? Or was it Randy Orton went into Triple H's house?
Let's say
Miz went so somebody who went into Miz's house. Randy Orton went into Miz's house. Like, we've seen wrestlers go into people's houses. Hangman to be like, you went into my house, so I gotta burn down your house. That's not therapy.
You can't say that's an overreaction.
No, he needs therapy.
He went through therapy, and he's on the other side of it by beating the shit out of Swerve. He went through his therapy. He needed that lick back.
He needed a new therapist then, because whatever advice that she gave him, they gave him, it was terrible.
But yeah, that fucking.
But I'm curious to see what does this mean between their relationship? It's like
I think let's say it right now. Like, we got to have at some point in time unification of these guys, right? Because they we're just talking about wrestling tropes. They hate each other so much. At a certain point, they're gonna need each other.
Yeah.
How you get there, I don't know, because it is the best straight up blood feud in AEW as far as just one wrestler versus another. This is the most hatred that is on AEW. So even the fact that's why it's a primo for me, saying that he deserved it effectively. I know. He said you deserved it. See, that's the thing. He didn't say I deserve to have my house burned down. The context of the conversation is I hate you. I hate you. You burned my house down. You deserved it. I know. That's what happened. So it's caught up in the moment of emotions, but it's something.
I don't have a problem with the line. I just found it funny to be like, I deserve to burn my house. To have my house burned down.
No, yeah, you're right about that.
It's a funny way to just kind of hear that, but it played off well on TV. Like I said, all the Swerve stuff played off really well for me. Even at the end of it, when he gets attacked and then put through some glass and whatnot, I'm like, okay, again, it was overall it was a great episode for Swerve as far as pushing his character and stories along the lines.
Yeah, and I was so glad to hear the good old Ring of Honor. There's a few Ring of Honor fans obviously in an AEW crowd. He owns the freaking company, but when you pull him up, when Claudio pulls him up, I hear Ricola from a few of the fans, and I'm like, yes, we're aware of Ring of Honor, Claudio. That's what you would do. The fan would yell for the Ricola bomb. So we love that commercial. Come on now.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if people remember
it's
it.
Iconic.
Generation, but man, that Ricola commercial is legendary.
That's iconic for us. Yeah, exactly. We know that. So it's okay, cool. Yeah, for the mids, the hardcore intergender match. This was dope as shit.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
dope.
I'll let you get on the specifics of the match, and I'll just kind of just talk about like first of all, like legit intergender match, and then
Yeah,
a hardcore intergender match. I was like, oh,
love it.
look
This
at
is
that.
why they should happen. I told this is the shit, man. It's so ridiculous that we don't allow this to happen more in wrestling. But this is, I will say, peak intergenderness. At least on a major scale for sure. I mean, you got the number one contender and the champion with both of their, lady counterparts who are also rivals by their goddamn selves. So this was actually super well built. I love the interaction between the genders specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Marina Shafir like saving Moxley and taking a boot from
call. Yeah, a house call to the dome. I said, "Oh shit!" I'm always calling for that. And just like I want to see Willow hit like a phantom driver on Moxley. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that shit. But yeah, this was surprisingly hardcore to me.
That was the match even designed to be a hardcore match, and did it just ended up being
a tornado? It's a tornado match, so by default, that's what it is. Okay. You got both in the ring, but I thought that the interactions between them was great. The house call was the highlight of it for sure, obviously. What was the actual finishing pin? Was that Willow? Willow beating? Oh yeah, she actually got the pin on Marina.
Yeah.
Because obviously it wasn't Moxley, like down on the ground. So
yeah, but yeah, great match. And like I said, I just was like, oh, look at that intergender match. And then not only is it's like a legit intergender match, like it's a hardcore match, like being put through tables and a lot of really great sequences. So.
Even Swerve, so just like when he does his second rope, European uppercut to the gritty, he does that to Marina Shafir also. Yeah, good stuff. What else did we have up here?
My final mid is MJF denied entry into the Hurt Syndicate by Bobby Lashley.
That would be that's my shake. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean it's kind of expected, because again, if MVP is the talker for the Hurt Syndicate, like Bobby is still the
power.
I don't want to call him the CEO because that's Mercedes' name, but effectively the CEO of the Hurt Syndicate, right? And so it's like, okay, yeah, MVP's recruiting you, but if Bobby don't want you in there, he don't want you in there. But I'm also like, what is going to happen this weekend with Dynasty when the Hurt Syndicate got to put their titles on the line against what was Big Bill and Brian Keith.
Brian Keith, yeah.
And so it's like, is this a way to get the titles off of them and then create some type of rivalry between MJF and Bobby? I don't know. I'm just kind of curious to see what that dynamic. Like, I think these two having kind of verbal spars against one another, and I think there's a really good potential to have a match. Though I would like, again, we talked about last week, I would like to see MJF with a bunch of black dudes.
Yeah, that would be fire for sure.
Yeah.
For MJF, I do believe that's a smart investment for MJF to want to be in the Hurt Syndicate. Like he said it already, he's not hiding his plan really when he's like, I see you guys as like a dominant force and I can see you getting me back to where I belong, which is in the AEW, like holding the belt again. I had this shake because it's a repeat of last week for the most part. I thought for sure, you would come around. We even had the segment of like the post show when Hurt Syndicate are like, oh, we're on the same page now. Well, clearly you ain't. Clearly you ain't when you come back out and you do the same thing and it's like Bobby's like, I don't like you type shit. Now, if we would have ended and it's like Bobby, I would have fucked with it. And Bobby's like, you're on a probationary period. Kind of like when Jimmy wasn't fucking with Sammy. You know what I'm saying? And usually, like you said, he's the CEO or like the boss, COO, whatever, of Hurt Syndicate. He should be able to make that call and be like, all right, well, you a half member right now. You need to earn your stripes. You know what I'm saying? I would have been all about
what was
that.
They called in Drumline? They were scabs when they had like their white tees on. Yeah, or crabs or whatever they were.
Or crabs. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have fucked with that. But for it to just be like, oh no, I'm just stiff arming you again for the week. All right, okay. So nothing happened.
And it's,
I don't think
I
there's
can
a-
see it's also kind of weird to be like someone like MJF stature trying to like get into a group.
Yeah,
MJF's
right.
not like a group person. Like, why is he like? It's like if
He
that
is.
if in a real scenario,
He
it's
is.
like if he rips the card up, MJF is like, all right, you're lost. I'm
You know what?
MJF. You have done more than you have ever done in this company.
He is a group person now. He's down to be used and be using a group to get to where, because he was part of the not the learning tree. What was it? No, the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yeah.
He was part of
Yeah.
Jericho Appreciation Society. He was part of the Pinnacle. He created his own, and he's trying to get in here now. And not to mention that he was halfway elite because he's basically Cody's protege. So he is a group person, actually.
Okay.
He just wants to manipulate that group. And like he said that. So it's like, all right, cool. I mean, I know you that's you as a character. So that's what I would expect from MJF. But
yeah.
I would have liked a more synchronicity between these. Like I want to see him in the group, and like, I mean, it will happen. Maybe you just gotta beat Lashley or something, you know? Like he could cheat to beat Lashley, and then they'll just respect it because business is business. You know what I'm saying? And like that's how you earn your way in or some shit. I could see that.
We'll get to it when we get to the Dynasty. But if that matches, if that tag team matches on Dynasty, then I might have a hard time making that pick on that one.
Mhm.
Wrap up the coffee shop for us, Moody.
Yeah, I got my emotional crying face of Timeless better not lose this. She does get her lick back on Penelope
Collision?
Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Penelope Ford this week. But still, Megan Bain stands tall with another Fate's Descent. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, my pick is already solid. We're gonna make our predictions in a bit, but Timeless is winning this. Ain't no way in hell. I can't allow this. Because this is the second week in a row she does a kneeling like Fate's Descent. She ain't even going all the way down. She is busting Tony's ass for the last few weeks, dog. And I'm like, shit. So my fingers are crossed. I'm just saying that. I just need to bring that up. And actually, I didn't put this on here, but what I definitely enjoyed this match was Blake Christian versus Jay White. He's one of the young lions from New Japan. The black guy that's like super athletic and shit. So it's like, oh yeah, like he's already. I looked at him, and it's kind of like when I was watching Zoe Stark in NXT, and it's like, oh, she's so fucking far ahead of everybody else. Like, you know, you can put her on Raw right now, and she did, you know, get drafted last year or whatever. That's kind of like the feeling that I had with Blake Christian, where I was like, yeah, you could be on this roster right now. If not on NXT's roster right the fuck now. Like, was just this short match you had with Jay White. And the only other reason I wanted to bring it up was just funny because Jay White puts him over and he's like, oh, I think you'll see a whole lot more of him, you know, in the future. And Jay White like just breaks character and he was like, well, that was your cue to get out right now. So like, do you mind? So clearly he has to work on like stage presence maybe or hard cam stuff and timing, but that's about it. But I was very impressed with him. That's the first time I've ever seen that guy. So it was cool to see him. And the last thing, not AEW related, actually TNA related, is TNA director of Authority, Santino Marella, announced that there will be a new championship. The international championship will be or the international champion will be crowned at Sacrifice, their next, or Unbreakable, excuse me, Unbreakable. And it's a series of, they're having 3 triple threat matches in honor of one of our first Book of Wrestling entrants, like what most people would say is the greatest TNA match of all time, that match that got Will Ospreay and so many people into wrestling, AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe at Unbreakable 2005 for the X Division title. So this is, all of these matches will be triple threat, and the match itself will be triple threat at Unbreakable next month. So looking forward to that for whoever will be the new international championship. I am.
Did you say the contenders for that? match?
No, I'm gonna
Okay.
look them up right now.
Every time I hear sacrifice, especially related to wrestling, I just immediately jump to Scott Steiner. And it'd be like,
Yeah.
the numbers add up, and they spell disaster for you at sacrifice. For the legendary Scott Steiner math promo.
Yeah. All right. So the first match we got is Eddie Edwards versus Ace Austin versus Steve Macklin. Great. We got Zachary Wentz, from the Rascals versus JDC Fandango versus Eric Young. And the last one is AJ Francis versus Mance Warner versus Sammy Callahan. Yeah, I got Mance Warner winning that one.
JDC.
Or Sammy. Yeah, JDC. So those are your contenders for who will be
that's if I had to pick it early right now, I'd go JDC.
Yeah, okay. That'll make the system look amazing. That faction will have a whole lot of gold because Moose is there too with his title. So
I just think like, again, that's also like my WWE bias, and I'm like, man, just hear the Fandango music, but I'm like, he's not Fandango though.
No, he's not. Would have, if I had a loose guess on this right now, I would go with this is
AJ
tough.
Francis.
Fuck no. Maybe like a Ace Austin. It's either Ace Austin or Steve Backlund. It depends on who wins their match. It's one of those two, I would say. I don't know. But that's it for the coffee shop. Our little taste of TNA right there. Now we're down to
the Book of Wrestling.
Yep.
My coffee. Pinky up. Another week of the Book of Wrestling. And we have 3 historical entrants as far as just moments that happened this weekend. Moody also has a match. This was posted like this week. Well,
Monday.
not this week, but it happened. I don't know when it happened, but yeah, I'm confused. But he also posted up a match from Ring of Honor. So which one would you like to start with first, Moody?
Let's get the disheartening stuff out of the way first. I'm gonna go with an actual great moment, but in memory of the great wrestler Jay Briscoe, rest in peace. We got April 5th, 2013. Jay Briscoe defeating Kevin Steen for his one and only Ring of Honor World Title. This was at Supercard of Honor 2013. This is the best cut that I could find. It's not the full match, but it's like one of those like perfect like edits where it's like it just gives you all the impact, all of the moves that are hit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 3.5 minutes long, but you check this out afterwards. And as you know, like a few years ago, Jay was lost in a car accident. Him and his daughter. So his brother Mark lives on for him and wrestles for him. Even uses the J Driller. That is now his like ultimate. You're not kicking out of this finisher, which is a tribute to his parents. Exactly. So
then one day somebody's gonna kick out of that, and then he's gonna have like the biggest shock look on his face, and he'd be like, "No,
exactly.
It can't be." I'll take the next one. April 1st. Somebody thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. 2016. Shinsuke Nakamura, the coolest mother effer on the planet.
I'm telling you.
Makes his NXT debut. 2016, Finn Balor retained the NXT Championship against Samoa Joe in the main event of the NXT TakeOver Dallas. As Asuka also defeated Bayley for the NXT Women's title, and American Alpha defeated the Revival for the NXT Tag Team Championships. This is considered many to be the greatest NXT TakeOver of all time, also including a match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn that simultaneously acted as Nakamura's WWE debut and Zayn's last match on the NXT brand. Crazy.
Awesome, bone-chilling, goosebump giving match. Like you said, with the coolest motherfucker ever. Like when I saw that, I was like, I gotta put this on here. Like I'm such a Shinsuke guy. He should have won the title at Mania from AJ. Come on, either way.
It's always gonna be. That's the thing about being a wrestling fan. There's just gonna be like that one little small thing in the back of your mind. Be like, I still can't get over it. I still will never get over it.
Yeah. I don't need to get into it, but they were New Japan guys. They had worked together. AJ is documented saying he was fine losing that match. So That's what makes my skin crawl. But
I get it.
actually, you run this other one too, because obviously I'll take the Ring of Honor.
Then this was April 2nd, 2012, so 4 years before Shinsuke Nakamura. We also get the return of Brock Lesnar for, what is this, like the 5th time? No, this is probably the first time. But 2012.
The first real return, for sure. Yeah, that's the first one.
This is after WrestleMania. Yeah, okay. This is after. Yeah, okay. On Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, was that 38? No, that's 28.
28. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar made his return to the WWE after 8 years, confronting John Cena in the ring and delivering a huge F5 to close the show. Also returning on the episode was the wrestler formerly known as Albert A-Train, also Haku. Not his name was not Haiku. Lord Tensai. Yeah, this is at the time Lord Tensai. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yep.
I should have just finished the sentence.
Matt Bloom, he's a coach. Now he's on LFG. WWE LFG now.
Is he?
Yeah,
I mean,
Legends of Future Grace, because he's a coach.
He was on the original Tough Enough as a coach.
He's been one of their coaches for the longest time, and I think he was even like a wrestler coach, like even when he was originally A-Train at that point in time, because he was coming from New Japan. That's where he gets Lord Tensai from. Is his time in New Japan.
I'm saying, like, when Tough Enough was on, like in 2001, like when like Maven won it, like he was a coach, I believe, on there. So
and this
Lord
last
Tensai, they really made this man. Okay, I get it. He was in Japan. But I'm like, seeing that on like an American television, I'm like, what are we doing?
No, seriously. I'm like, what is this? Like, I have no clue. I have no context of this, because also at that point in time, you're still not addressing other wrestling companies, WWE, like at all. Like they don't
and
exist.
I'm like, and I'm also like, that's Prince Albert.
I know it's Prince Albert, and you're booking him from the land of the rising sun now. Like, what is happening? Like, and then this last entrant, this is our match entrant into the Book of Wrestling this week. The Ring of Honor Bound by Hate 2008 main event, August 11th, 2008. Bryan Danielson versus Tyler Black, also known as Seth Rollins, obviously nowadays, versus Kenny Omega. Dog. The notes I got in here, I'm like, the whole match is posted here. It's like 18 minutes long. It feels like a fucking fever dream.
They didn't even know what they had at this moment.
Ring of Honor knew. Like, Ring of Honor definitely knew. That's why all these guys got snatched up. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm saying in the moment. This is like what? This is 2010 or like something like that.
2008. This is 2008.
So 2008. They's like, oh yeah, Seth Rollins is going to be this WWE Hall of Fame. Bryan Danielson is going to be this guy. Kenny Omega is going to be this guy. And no, we all got. It's like when you watch old Attitude Era stuff, and you're like, yo, they had on a regular Monday night, they had Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, for real. And you go back and you're like, God damn, it's one of the greatest matches of all time. Like,
on a regular Monday night. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ring of Honor and the Aughts, that's what they were doing, because this is where CM Punk came through. This is where all these guys came through. Like, and just one more thought. Look at this date. What comes to your mind when you look at this date, when this happened? What's going on in life? August 11th.
August 11th. We just started school.
We just got to campus.
Yeah.
And these guys are tearing the house down. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally 21, 22, like 23 years old.
Yeah.
They're doing this. I'm like, God damn.
Freshmen on campus.
So the notes that I had from this, like I said, feels like a fever dream. Watch this when we get off. This is a huge suggestion to anybody watching this. There's a spot where Bryan Danielson, at that point in time, his finisher is the cattle mutilation, which is like a double chicken wing with a bridge. But he does a double cattle mutilation where he has their arms, they're laying face down, their elbows are linked together, and he's grabbing their outside arms and hitting a double cattle mutilation and pulling their other arms up with like his fingers all in one spot. That's just like, what the fuck? And I also put indie wrestling. This is the closest we're going to get to like those overseas crowds.
Yeah.
If you start this at the very beginning, it took me a while. I had to like run it back like maybe twice, because it's so distinct. But the Ring of Honor fans are pounding on their chairs, and I'm like, what the fuck? But they're making a beat. You're gonna get your fucking head kicked in. You're gonna get your fucking head kicked in, which is
So
Bryan Danielson's. He's always talking about kicking people's heads in. So
yeah.
I'm like, hey, they were clearly on his side. But I was just like, for wrestling crowds to, just come up with super unique dynamic,
It's a little wordy. It's a little
chants.
wordy, but I like
wordy.
the effort.
It's super wordy, but this is how you know that these are like, there's no more diehard than these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't WWE. This isn't even WCW or TNA back in 08. This is Ring of Honor, non-televised Ring of Honor, getting chants like this. So ahead of their time, Ring of Honor. Shout out to them in this match.
So I had it to my watch list. I was trying to prepare before the show to watch this, but I just didn't get the chance to. So definitely will watch it afterwards.
And like you said, for it to be a time capsule, like all three of these guys, we would consider like the best of their generation. You know what I'm saying? And like all of them are still so raw. Like, there's some mess, like there's clearly botches in here and stuff, but the chemistry is evident. You know what I'm saying? It's where it's like, oh, these guys are amazing. And that is our book of wrestling.
That might be a nice title, match capsule.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like a segment name.
Oh, match capsule. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the last show of the week up until Dynasty. We are at the boutique SmackDown. Finally, a WWE main show is back in the United States. SmackDown was held in none other Chicago, Illinois, home of CM Punk, and he kicked off the show, did some talking. You filled out your document quicker than mine, and I pretty much agree with everything that you had on here. So I'll let you start off.
Well, the best thing that happened on the show, this was a strong week of wrestling. Even SmackDown stepped up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? This was a strong week. Like, just to be reflective, I appreciate the effort out there. But Jacob Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf, getting the W over Braun Strowman in a #1 contenders match for the U.S. title, which happened to be a last man standing match. And they were just the fact that you knew that, they're putting over the fact that Strowman has been in there with the best and he's had multiple last man standing matches and he's never been defeated. Well, that means he's going to lose this time whenever they're telegraphing it like that. So that's almost to the point where it's like the NBA announcers, like just jinxing shit, or NFL announcers, excuse me. Well, it's like, oh, he's 35 for 37 from field goal. Like, he is very consistent wide left every time. That's exactly like whenever like it's a point that you wouldn't be thinking about as a fan, and they say it like twice or three times.
Steph Curry has made his last 38 free throws.
Yeah, doink. Like, what? But yeah, this match was awesome. I love the these are two giant crash test dummies, as big as they are, and that's how they treated each other. They didn't even start like in the ring. Jacob starts with a suicide dive, if I remember, or he definitely like runs out and attacks Braun Strowman. He doesn't even let him come down to the ring. So this started off like high octane, you know what I'm saying, already, which I appreciated. And the spots from the superplex in they always call it like what do you call that area where it's in the crowd? It's like the tech setup area. You know what I'm saying? There's like tables there. We've seen like multiple spots happen there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tech storage. Yeah.
Yeah. Side tech. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the audio visual. Yeah. Cause it's like where all the cameras are and shit. But anyway, the superplex off of there, which obviously Braun Strowman is fucking strong, but like just how like perfect that vertical suplex looked like a hardcore Holly, like textbook definition when you look up in the dictionary of wrestling moves. That was like a 10 out of 10 vertical suplex, like, on just standard delivery for it to be such a hardcore spot that I was like, man, he's got Jacob up there for real. You know what I'm saying? And obviously to finish the match, the hip check into the table. We set up the table very early on. And the work that both of them were doing, selling for each other, like the whole wobbly leg thing at like number 9, they were so good at that. This is like one of
Even like
once
Braun
again,
Strowman trying to get up at that last second, like he was trying, he was holding on to the rope, and he's like, I can't do it. And I'm like,
mhm.
I'm actually surprised that this match actually ended with the actual like a finish. I was like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been surprised if they ended it with like a double count out.
And then
Or
just
not a
make it a
double
triple
count out, but
threat.
like, yeah, but I'm like, who's the US champion right now?
LA Knight.
LA Knight versus these two big dudes. That'd be rough. That would be
Yeah.
rough. Like,
Yeah. And this is
so
already like the most multi-man match to Mania.
yeah,
Like,
probably since WrestleMania 16.
mhm. Literally.
WrestleMania 2000. I think there was only, if I recall, I don't think there was a singles match on WrestleMania 2000. There was all multi-man.
Wow. Hello, Carly, for coming in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at the card. WrestleMania 2000. See what this
yeah.
is.
Because of that one, we had the Chris Jericho, Benoit angle for the European and Intercontinental title. They had those were split matches. You
Yeah.
had the
All right. So you
4-way
had. Oh,
McMahon
sorry.
in every. You had the 4-way McMahon in every corner. That was the main event with Big Show, Rock, Triple H, and Mankind.
Yeah.
24/7 hardcore match.
Yeah. 24/7.
Hardy's,
That's the
Dudley's ladder match.
Edge and Christian, Dudley's, yeah, Hardy's.
Yeah,
Um,
crazy. I remember that
TNA.
card like that.
That's crazy. I'd say you remember that off the top?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. That's super amazing. For real, for real. But yeah, the card, like you said, the fatal four-way of the McMahons. You had Rikishi and Kane versus DX. You had the 2 out of 3 falls Intercontinental European.
European
Yeah,
Championship
that's
match.
because that's the match.
Angle lost both his titles. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, sure did. The 6-person intergender tag team match. It's China and Too Cool versus the Radicals, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
A triangle ladder match, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
That's heavy.
That's the
very,
only,
very heavy.
That's the only WrestleMania that's never had that has no singles matches on there.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. No singles at all. Because even the other ones that would be straight up are tag team matches, which are multi-man. So interesting. All right, but with that being said, I mean, let me go ahead and I guess I'm gonna address this first because it's real. So KO coming out with his information about his neck injury. He won't be at Mania, breaking kayfabe and everything, which was rough, and you could tell how like upset he was, and even to the point where like I'm sure there was obviously some kind of troll that was in the crowd because you see as he's like making his exit, he does like a hard snapback to the crowd, to somebody in the crowd who obviously said something, and I think like probably said that it was fake or something like that, just because that's what he mentioned in the ring. And the camera, like the hard cam, cuts to Randy for an extended period of time. It's just on his face.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, have faith in KO. He's not going to put hands on anybody right now, obviously. But I was just like, damn, like that's very. It shows like how upset that he is, at this situation. Like literally, like right before it, and who can blame him? Like I'm upset personally. Randy looked upset. Like Randy even. I want to honestly say it was probably called like right there. Randy just gave not Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis a RKO just cause. Yeah. I think he might have did that in the moment, like just cause for the crowd type shit, because it was so not tear jerking. It wasn't tear jerking. He wasn't like, because Kevin Owens didn't get emotional. He was just like very matter of fact about it, in my viewpoint. And all right, so hear me out, because obviously this is upsetting for all of his fans out here. This is where I zag. Randy doesn't have a match in Mania now. Throw him in the main event. I'm gonna call Ringer Wrestling this week, because like 3 weeks after I mentioned, I gave you that huge convoluted story of how Roman should go after Jay, like his World Heavyweight Championship night 2. That's what the fuck Cass said like 2 weeks ago. He was like, oh yeah, he'll have to acknowledge him or some type of shit. But either way, throw Randy in the main event and have him win the title at Mania. That will put Randy at 15. Triple H and Evolution, they have this whole connection, whatever. Cena, you still are like, this is kind of like what people, or I don't know if it was you and me that was booking this, or like, maybe I am just like listening to a whole lot of pods being poisoned by them. But I remember hearing the thought of like Cena turning heel, the fact that he did turn heel early, but he should still lose at Mania and just have him grind and be like, damn, that was the wrong thing to do, to, sell out my soul to The Rock. And so you can still do that. And it lights the fire under Cena's ass because guess what? Randy's at 15 now. And I honestly had a moment where I'm like, yo, let's play hot potato. Play hot potato between Randy and Cody. Cody will get it back and have Randy win again before Cena does anything. Before Cena gets the title at all. So now it's Randy and Cena tied. But at least you have that like extra wrinkle of who's going to do it. If that's truly like a goal. If that's truly like a story point goal. I mean, it seems like it. Cena said that 2 weeks ago. Like, I'm gonna break the record. So he cares about it in character.
Yeah.
Randy,
I don't mind that. I think the thing that I kind of find hard is for him to all of a sudden have remorse for joining The Rock and turning heel after 2 months because you lost at WrestleMania. I'm like, nah, that's just too quick.
Well, maybe not. I mean, well, I guess it would have maybe not the remorse immediately, but like just the fact you can say something like the Rock is the ultimate mastermind and he's the fucking president of the board. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't see this coming because he betrayed me just like, he betrayed Cody or whatever.
Sounds like a Trump voter.
Yeah. I'm just spitballing, but yeah, maybe.
I'm just saying, like, but the way you're explaining it sounds like someone saying, like, I didn't think Trump was gonna do this stuff to me, and now I regret my vote. It's like that's like basically John Cena sounding like a Trump voter, saying like, oh, I didn't know The Rock was gonna do that to me, so now I regret my. That's at that point I'm just like, F you, John Cena. Like we told you.
That's the thing, is that then he'll have to earn us back or whatever, and then he can break it 17 as a face. I don't know. But that was just my quick-minded, booking to this upsetting news that we're not getting the match. That I'm like, maybe
I hope
we
Kevin's
can do
okay
something.
though, because like, we talk about it every time we watch Kevin. I'm like, bruh, you don't need to be giving up your body like that. Like some of the bumps they be taking, I'm like, bruh, I get it, but like, come on, man, we're good. You don't need to.
He's like Darby. I mean, Darby is like even crazier because he's like, 140 pounds. At least, KO has some girth to him. But it's like, if you're going to be doing like the crazy ladder wars and shit like that, like we got Ring of Honor 15 years ago, you were doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? And granted, he has slowed it down.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say he has slowed it down. And like, we've just recently got up to the point where it's like package pile drivers and like the unsanctioned match with Sammy, like his more hardcore shit is just now coming back out. But it's going to have a toll on you. And that's exactly what he mentioned in the ring. Yeah. So
like I said, the spot that always comes to me with Kevin, the recent one is when he was facing Roman and they were outside of the ring and they were by the steps. And then like Roman just kind of like swung him backwards onto the steps and the back of his head hit the edge of the stair. I was like, oh my goodness.
That one was really,
I'm like,
it's right. My recent bump that comes to my mind is him versus Cody for the title.
Oh yeah,
in the ladder match
with the ladder,
Alabama slam on the ladder bridge. That was the one where I was like, and you couldn't even see his head because it was just like wrapped in the ladder. Like that's the one where I was like, damn, bro, like, ugh. Yeah. So hopefully he's
Kevin
okay.
is able to come back, and if he's not, hopefully he's just healthy and able to live a good life.
Yeah, obviously that's what's most important, and hopefully, and Randy. Like, hopefully we can find out something for him, and Mania. But that's where I'm like, what honestly can you throw together?
Knew, and they were just kind of like they knew about this. This is not brand new, I don't think. And so,
yeah, he said it's been 4 months, so for sure, like they were just hoping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like clearly he's upset. But I was trying to think of like, how can you zag for Randy? You know what I'm saying? And this like last bit, so it's just upsetting all the way around. No cap. That was also in my head. But that's my convoluted booking, is that you can always call Brock and Brock as a main event.
Mhm.
So that did come up. That's like a way easier, simpler answer. That's way more realistic than throwing him in the main event. Duh. But I mean, who else could you call? Who else is like an instant main eventer you could call like right now? Stone Cold? No, he ain't doing it.
Maybe you just give him the NXT rub and get like Javon Evans and Randy Orton versus like Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. I don't know.
That's so bad. Or not bad. That's so rough. Unfortunate timing. But
Yeah.
let you pick the next one. Go ahead.
The major storyline is CM Punk told Paul Heyman wanted CM Punk to tell him everyone what the favor was, and Punk was like, "I'm only going to say the favor in front of you with Roman here." Roman comes out, Seth's out there, they're all talking, and then it seems like the favor is, I want Paul in my corner at Mania.
Which is the very first thing that we thought when we heard about this favor, which is like also why
I thought it was supposed to be like, it was supposed to be for the championship.
Well, yeah, if you could somehow do that, but yeah, if you could somehow manipulate and politic his way into that, but I mean, of course, Roman would want to be part of that. Roman would want that, like if the title's on the line for sure. This was a good segment. I was just like, okay, so it's like what we thought all along. You know what I'm saying? But just leaning into the whole like history of them, I'm cool with that. Like for building this immediately, and really, what did it for me more than anything, the best part of this was Steph being absolutely right and laughing his ass off when, Roman is waiting for Paul to deny CM Punk, like, oh, you will not be in his corner. And he's like, oh, I can't do that, my tribal chief. And not only that, but he takes or gives CM Punk one of the best sells. I think he looked like, Peter when he falls down the stairs in Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like his legs twisted all over each other, taking the GTS. I thought that was great. So it's like Seth is like just drinking in that moment of like Roman's downfall, which I thought was actually the best moment of all of it, because he was standing there like, I fucking told you, and just laughing his ass off, like doesn't intervene in the GTS at all. And he's just like, you stupid motherfucker, I told you. But I mean, I don't blame Roman for not listening to Seth. I would never listen to Seth. He literally said prior to them coming out that you're untrustworthy, which he is in his viewpoint. So but yeah, that is the big thing.
Going to ask, do you think when Punk had mentioned the favor months back before War Games that they thought that they actually were going to use it, or it was just a line? Because right now it almost feels like it's a line that I think the audience
read into
on. Yeah, hooked on, and was like, oh, but what about the favor? What about? It was like, and I think it almost feels like they just kind of threw it out there. It was just kind of said in jest in the moment, but then as as an active TV watching audience that's like that's been trained to pick up on like small things, like that kind of, I think it almost feels like it kind of grew life on its own, bigger than what it was intended to. And this was
due to the people involved. Yeah,
and this was an easy way to kind of just write it off, rather than like carry it on for however long. Because it does seem underwhelming unless something crazy happens out of it. Like, what's the difference? Like, even if who cares? You're still going to be around the ring. What does being in the corner matter?
In a triple threat match, when it's a triple threat match, is automatically no rules. So they'll probably be outside of the ring at some point in time. So it's like you're going to be moving outside of the ring in multiple positions. So it's like I mean, for us, it's just the visual for the entrance. Clearly, that's all we're getting. It's like he's going to make his entrance with me, and that's what the story point is going to be.
That's a good point.
But yeah. So we'll have that visual of CM Punk and Heyman together. Yeah, that's really funny to think about the mechanics of that. It's like you're still going to be on the outside of the ring. Like, does it really matter? I will say we need to do ourselves the work, and like I want to say CM Punk put a little bit of stress on it, like, or made kind of a big deal about it, or not CM Punk specifically, but like WWE in general, like the segment when Heyman asked him for help or whatever, or whenever he brought up this air quote favor. I feel like there was definitely like they were in the ring or something, but we will go back and figure out where the origin of this favor is. Just because, like I said, it could have been a throwaway line, but if they put stress on it, then it's like,
Yeah,
I do believe that
I'm
I do believe,
hypothesizing.
I do believe that they didn't know what the favor was going to be though. I believe
Oh,
that. I
facts.
think they were
They
just
had
saying
no idea what.
favor. Yeah, and they were just like, all right, we'll figure it out later. And
Yeah.
then that's why I'm underwhelmed, because it's like, all right, it's one of the simpler things that you could do,
Mhm.
but it's fine. I'm not Superman. That's why it's a mid stable. Maybe a slight uptick just because of, like I said, Seth laughing at Roman laying, like, to put a fucking like chalk mark around Roman right
Yeah.
there. Like,
Hey,
that's a
hey,
dead
it
body.
all
Like,
it all lines up. It all lines up for Seth
mhm.
to easily get this win, because now the conflict is going to be Roman and CM Punk, and with Paul in the middle. So there's going to be a moment in the match where Paul slides something into the ring, and neither of them are going to be able to get it. Seth is
double curb
Wow!
stomp.
Wow!
Yeah, that would be perfect. Like, slide the championship into the ring. Like, they
There's no
both are
championship,
like,
but yeah.
oh yeah, damn it. Yeah, you're right. But all right, slide the steel chair in the ring. They both go for it at the exact same time, a timing spot. And then
Mhm.
this is also when Seth
Ooh,
is just getting
yeah.
his bearings, double curb stomp, and then you stack them up if you could
Yeah.
do that. But like I said, I
Yeah.
still got Seth winning. He has not changed.
Good answer.
He's still-
Good answer.
He's the most face out of everybody. The only reason that CM Punk is getting this much face work is because they were in Chicago, and obviously we're in this like meta story, like real life. Like, he's completing his own story, like Cody did. This is
Yeah.
his story. This is CM Punk's story, just being in the main event. So he doesn't have to win it. But the fact that he has Paul there, the guy who started the journey with him, I think that's enough. And Seth is going over, but I think that's enough on them. You got more?
No.
Okay.
Talk about Ray Phoenix.
Yeah. Ray Phoenix, and this is also a conversation on Nathan Frazier, because they're so heavy-handed with like Nathan Frazier being trained by Seth Rollins, but it's like, me as like a trained wrestling watcher, even if they weren't saying that, I would say that. I'd be like, he looks like mini Seth Rollins. Like, even the spot of like, one of my favorite spots is like so unnecessary, it's exhausting, but like when he avoids like somebody splashing him in the corner, and then he does like the double headstand, or like the double springboard, or not springboard, I don't know, double handstand, like flip over to the other corner.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Seth could do that in his fucking like Ring of Honor days. I could see him doing that. You know what I'm saying? So this was a great match. I loved Ray's mask. Even like he has like the outer covering mask, which I didn't notice if he had that in AEW. So at first I thought he just redesigned his mask altogether, but it's still the same. I love the, he's hitting the dope ass moves, like his rope walking, like basically punch that he does, like to the face. I love that move. I don't know what his finisher is called. Like, I know his tornillo is like one of his signature moves, which is like that corkscrew crossbody that he does to the outside.
Yeah.
But similar to like Chad Gable when Penta came, I feel like this is another one of those like just perfect matchup. This was the Chad Gable to his Penta. You know what I'm saying? They're just smaller. Like, clearly they're just smaller guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much else to add other than like, yeah, this is mid-rising, good debut, great opponent to kind of, get your hands, with, obviously put on a good show with, and Nathan Frazier. Yeah, I'm curious to see where we go with Ray Phoenix next. Now, I will say on my end, last night, SmackDown eventually got moved to the tablet. It got moved off the big screen. It had to get moved to the tablet because Ovechkin ended up tying Gretzky last night. And so I was like, I had to move him to the big screen. And I'm like, he didn't break it, but basically SmackDown got preempted. You know what I'm saying? Onto the small screen. But
I was pulling double duty yesterday too. We got the one over the Thunder. Yeah, big shit.
Yeah. And so I need to watch it again, but I would say Penta seemed like a bigger debut than Ray Phoenix.
Yeah.
But there's also on Netflix, and Netflix is, again,
True.
it's a different kind of ball game right now. But again, nothing on him. Curious to see how it moves forward. Let's get into these shakes so we can hurry up and get to these predictions. I want you to start with MCMG first because the Charlotte and Tiffany is interesting.
Yeah, I just put this in shake. Yeah, MCMG becoming #1 contenders over DIY. I put this in shake just because, all right, well, we know what's happening with the tag teams now. And that just put it in my mind. I'm like, well, shit, well, we're not getting our fatal 6-way, you know what I mean? So that's why I was like, but I can't put it in Reggie because you just didn't do what I wanted you to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's
we just literally just talked about it. It's like, how many multi-person matches you're going to have? I mean, like, a tag match is a tag match, but at least a tag match is as close as a singles match as you're going to get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And so that's just where I was with it. I was like, okay. And then the Tiffy and Charlotte face-to-face goes awry. I had to watch this twice because I'm sitting here like, obviously, you know, Charlotte's a vet, and like we know Chicago is a, you know, what you would say a smart crowd, probably like our best crowd, like as far as wrestling knowledge goes in America. And they were giving hell to her. They were just giving hell to Charlotte. And I know Tiffany's over, but I'm just like, is this like, I really couldn't tell if this was like straight up go away heat, like we really don't want Charlotte to win the title, or if this was like Charlotte, you know, pretending to be flustered and stuff like that, which is why I was like, oh, I gotta put this in shake because I'm like, I feel like she's too much of a vet for her to be like literally like starting the same line 3 times and having to talk over the crowd like that. And
I thought Tiffany is the one I think Tiffany has been struggling the last few weeks,
all right.
In my opinion. And the way I read this segment, because I was going to have this in mid, but I'm like, man, like you said, I think Ari it's a really good way of describing it. Because to me, what I took away from this promo, and I think it's been a consistent thing from the last couple weeks, is that Tiffany's just too nice. Like I don't mean character nice. I think like as a regular person, I don't know if she's like inherent, like knows how to be mean, kind of like Rhea, right? Like Rhea in real life is like everybody says like she's a sweetheart, and it took, even Rhea has said that like it took her time to figure out how to, you know, be mean, you know what I'm saying? And so some of the things that like Tiffany's kind of been fumbling over her words, so Charlotte's been kind of getting on, like she's been getting on her in the promo battles in the last few weeks. And I felt like this week, it felt like Charlotte gave some material to Tiffany. Unless like like they talk about like, oh, before you were in wrestling, you were in the basement becoming an alcoholic, being failed at a volleyball player. Maybe she said that on a podcast. I don't know, but I'm like
drinking in your daddy's basement. That's what she said. Yeah, drinking in your daddy's basement.
I'm like, maybe she said that on a podcast, you know, talking about her life and stuff like that, and maybe I missed it. But I'm like, that just seemed like something like Charlotte would have gave you as ammunition, just to kind of hey, like because Charlotte can come out with a bar anytime she needed. I don't think the last line that she said is that why fucking Ludwig is in my DMs. I don't think Ludwig's in their DMs.
Yeah.
I think she's saying that. I think she's just saying that to say heat. Because again, I've seen videos of Tiffany and Charlotte backstage literally doing these choreographed dances and like having good times in friends. So part of me feels like they're still friends. And this is just, again, I think Charlotte was supposed to be a heel. It was supposed to be a face when she came back. And the fans were not wanting to have that.
Yeah.
And they had to flip it to Tiffany to be the face. Not saying she can't be a face, but again, she's having a hard time coming off. Charlotte's killing her on the mic right now, in my opinion, and I think she needs to. It's not any fault of Tiffany. Part of it's Charlotte just being a really good vet and be able to just talk on the mic like that, but. Yeah, Tiffany it doesn't have a lot of the same zeal. When she says some of her stuff, she's kind of fumbling her lines. It doesn't seem like it feels like it's not in her nature to be mean. Like it's a long way of saying it.
That's why I said I had to watch it multiple times because I was like, obviously Chicago was like I said, they were giving Charlotte hell, and we would also, or Cena would tell you that as long as they're reacting right, and
Mhm.
with you pointing out like even that line, I believe you pointing that out like drinking in your daddy's basement. It's like that definitely sounds like Charlotte giving her ammunition.
Yeah.
Like to me, like hearing that, and that's what I got like listening to it again. It was just because like I can't believe that Charlotte's stumbling over her lines. So that's where I'm like, okay, are we giving just the crowd time? I guess we're just giving Chicago their time,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I was just slightly. I couldn't put my finger on it. I guess.
It's their
And
promos have been weird in general. Even backstage, like
Yeah.
it hasn't been the cleanest, but it seems like it's kind of almost feels like it. I'll give them credit. It almost feels real.
Yeah. And not for nothing is like the only thing that saves me from the thought that like, because I did have like low key that feeling of like you said, it being real or whatever, getting
Mhm.
me to that point. But at the end of the day, just look at their outfits, and I'm like, bro, like y'all
Yeah,
came
you
here
dress.
matching.
Yeah, you
Like the
dress
whole story
exactly
has
alike.
been like you're a little clone of me, and it's like, bro, that's not a fucking accident. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, clearly they're working us. You know what I'm saying? So it was a great work. I'll
I
give
don't
them
think
that.
Ludwig's in her DMs. Do you think that was just a line, or do you think Ludwig really trying to get in them DMs?
No, no, I don't think he
Yeah.
is. I don't think he is. I don't. I don't know why he would. But then again, every man has different tastes, so whatever. That's it for the
Yeah.
boutique, right?
Yep. We can finally get to this pop-up show. Let
Yeah.
me open up the Wikipedia page to make sure I got all the matches on here. I don't.
Uh,
Uh, do some talking as I.
for sure. I mean, right now we got the well, my most anticipated matches definitely Mox and Strickland, Mox and Swerve. That's my most anticipated. I mean, not to mention obviously it's for the AEW World Championship, but it's like, is it time to rip the bandage off the Death Riders? You know what I'm saying? Like, just rip it off and like call it quits right now, or is it still good? Because this is the most credible threat that Mox has had during this time. So a very recent champion on our mind, and a guy that we're fully behind. So the only thing that would be, we talk about like the classic tropes, wrestling tropes. It's like if your challenger is standing tall, like on the go home show, then they're definitely losing at the pay per view. And that's
Yeah.
why it's tricky because they did the intergender tag team match, right? So yes, Moxley did take the L, but he was also standing. So
I gotta
it's
say,
about as like nail bitey as you can get. Yeah, go ahead.
this is totally off subject because I'm just filling out the rest of this card for the predictions that we're about to run through.
Mm-hmm.
AEW, I created this doc like 2 weeks ago, right? And at the time, there was only like 3 matches, and then I periodically been trying to keep up with it so we can have the card already filled out, and I don't have to do this last minute. But prior to me filling the rest of this out, we had about 5 matches listed,
Yeah, it was
and
5 or 6 on here. That's all.
and then they added another 5 more just this week. And I get it. 2 of them are part of the Owen Hart tournament, but I'm like, now y'all ended up with at one point showing 5, 6 matches. Now we're up to 11. Come on, guys. And then
Yeah.
a lot of it doesn't even have a lot of buildup. It's like, how do we even get some of these matches? Or even if we did,
Yeah.
it was like it took 2 weeks. It's like sometimes y'all just be overstuffing shit just to overstuff shit. But let's get into this card. Sorry. On these
No, you good. Yeah,
I
go
was just
down
like,
from the
why are there
top.
so many cards? Why is there so many matches every time?
Yeah.
Um,
No, go ahead.
go ahead. Jinx.
We're so nice. The AEW World Trios Championships, the Death Riders versus rated FTR. So specifically Claudio Pac and Wheeler Yuta versus Cope, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. This is the question where it's like, all right, are we ripping because the figurehead of the Death Riders is Moxley. So it depends if Moxley loses his title. That's where I'm thinking, because it's like if Moxley loses his title, I would probably have them retaining. But I just don't know. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I just definitely don't know what they're doing with the Death Riders. I guess that's a net negative that I'm not exactly sure what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have them losing because I got jumping ahead. I got Moxley retaining just because I'm like, would they do that? I mean, I would hope so, but I mean, what's next up for Swerve after that? You know what I'm saying? So, but either way, I don't mean to jump the gun, but that's my logic there. So
I feel like I remember seeing a backstage interview with Cope and FTR with Renee. And which one is the bald one in FTR? Or are they both bald?
Dax.
Dax. I feel
Yeah.
like there was like a bit of contentious moment between Cope and Dax as far as like, you know, I don't want to say like being held back or anything, but like, you know, just wanting more. So I don't know if there's any friction between like rated FTR that I'm like,
There is.
I'm gonna
You read that correctly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go Death Riders. It makes it harder for what I think might happen for MJF, not MJF, but Swerve and Moxley. But yeah, I think that's what I'll do.
I didn't even realize this, but this next match, a title versus mask match. Well, that just makes it obvious at that point in time because, I mean, granted, I was going to be picking Bandito anyway, but it's my GOAT, Jericho, the Ring of Honor world champion that's about to lose this to Bandito. We're not about to unmask Bandito. Are you kidding me? When we just got him back, we just got the 21 plex back. And I told you, I was like, they were even my champion of the week, I feel like, one time because of his vignette that they had, that like little cinematic when he was in the old Western town. That shit was dope. So
I'll go with Bandito. That's a good logic.
Yeah, they're not gonna unmask Bandito. I mean, granted, Jericho has unmasked the most luchadors that I can think of in North America. Like he has pulled off like every luchador. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised. I would actually no, I'm not gonna lie. I would be because it's like at this point, Jericho, like you said, you don't need to be the Ring of Honor world champion. Just go ahead. Come on now.
Yeah.
He's worked his way through the learning tree at this point. He's done his damage. Hangman Adam Page versus Wildcard. This is tricky because a lot of people would say, you know, Adam Page is the main character of AEW, right?
Who's the wild card though?
Exactly. Who's the wild card? And with it being Hangman not having a match, it's like it's gotta be somebody potent. You know what I'm saying?
Lesnar.
No way.
Just Brock Lesnar everything, bro. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of this as like similar. This is appropriate because I had this as Book of Wrestling entry, but similar to like the Shinsuke debut and knocking the shit out of Sammy, knocking him to the main roster. It's like it's believable that this wild card wins, but I have no idea who this is, and it's really just a matter of like, can we read Tony's mind? Like, does
and an Owen Hart tournament win gets you an AEW championship match, correct?
Yes.
Hangman.
I would have Hangman also just because I'm like wild card. Is this the Owen match?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't have that. Yeah. I didn't have that context. Oh, of course it's Hangman. You're not eliminating Hangman in the first round.
This is a quarterfinal match. And so is Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. And yeah, Will Ospreay, Kevin Knight. Mercedes Moné, Julia Hart. They're all
at least that makes sense. It's all the Owen Hart, so it's like that's 4 of them right there. He says that they got thrown together. So
AEW TNT championship match, no time limit, no outside interference allowed. Champion Daniel Garcia versus Adam Cole.
This is where I start like looking at how many. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna go Adam Cole because he's effectively irrelevant right now, except for this rivalry with Daniel Garcia, and this is the honestly that promo that Adam Cole did this week did more work than like the last like 2-3 weeks of them like going back and forth, and because I don't remember any of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I'm like with it was probably just run-ins and like brush ups. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm just gonna go Adam Cole since he I guess he needs the relevancy, but it's also like I have that thought of like, the whole shocking the system is kind of cooked.
Yeah.
And you would want to put the younger guy over, and you are building a superstar here. Granted, you can do that while losing a title. Like you can fail upwards. You know what I mean? He can like be in the international championship like contention or something like that. But this is his
That's
first title
fair.
reign, so it's like
That's
I
where
just
that's
don't
why
know.
I picked Daniel Garcia. I'm like, I feel like he just won it not too long
He did
ago.
just win it. Yeah, he just
So
won it.
I'm
That's
like,
true.
I'll give him
Yeah,
the retention. So I went
yeah,
Daniel Garcia.
yeah. I just think Cole and his oldness needs it. So,
Yeah. Kyle
um,
Fletcher, Mark Briscoe, quarterfinal, Owen Hart.
Kyle Fletcher,
I'm
you
going
got a
Mark
superstar
Briscoe.
here. Just keep him hot.
I'm going Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
It's just because Kyle Fletcher, does he have a title? No.
No, he doesn't have a title.
Damn, never
He's
mind.
the main Don Callis guy, and then Mark Briscoe, he's the head of the conglomeration. Which the
I thought
conglomeration is
like
just his friends.
Kyle Fletcher obviously is like, Mark Briscoe. Like we've talked about it, he just seems to be taking. He seems to be a good pair of hands that just will take the loss.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, okay, like, is he just gonna take another loss to Kyle Fletcher this time, or is he gonna get this win? Like, does Kyle Fletcher need to win this? Who needs it more? I
He
would
does,
say
that's
Mark
true. He
Briscoe.
doesn't. That's true. He doesn't need to win it because even when you think about his last tournaments and stuff, that's like also by virtue of like the Will Ospreay rivalry. That's why he made it so long into
Yeah,
that because they ended up facing each other off in the final. And I mean, you make a good point. He doesn't need a title shot right now. Like he's ready made in this. Like he's still scorching hot, or at least I feel like he is at this point in
yeah.
time. Like
Right. It is a
defeating
quarterfinal
Brody
match.
King,
It's
defeating
a
Brody
quarter.
King in a with a brain buster in the corner, the turnbuckle brain buster is still insane. The fact that you can get that 300-pound mount up and do that.
Thank you for saying Brody King because I feel like I definitely was mixing up another person that I was. I didn't mean Mark Briscoe. I was thinking about Brody King. That's what I was thinking
Oh,
about. So
oh,
I'll go.
okay, yeah.
I'll go Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, so you
Sorry.
you literally had you had Brody King in your head as Mark Briscoe. Yeah, I saved
Yeah,
your life
yeah,
just
yeah,
now.
yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, never mind.
Yeah.
And it's a quarterfinal match too. You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be a bit
Yeah.
of a surprise for him to lose a
That's a one
quarterfinal
seed
match.
losing to an 8 seed for
Yeah,
sure. Or at least like that's a 2-7 matchup at least. But
yeah. Uh,
anyway,
Hurt Syndicate versus the Learning Tree for the AEW Tag Team Championships.
the Hurt Syndicate.
I wasn't originally gonna go with the Learning Tree, but the last second thought in my head was like, I think the Hurt Syndicate. I think MVP, not MVP. I think
MJF.
MJF is going to interfere to
Hmm.
kind of get them the match to kind of be like showing as a proof of, look, you can trust me.
Yeah.
I can help you get this win. I can help you. I could be a good partner and help you guys get stuff. And then Bobby's like, we don't need your help. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
And then you start the probationary period, like I was talking about. Maybe that's what it
yeah,
is. Yeah.
Will Ospreay,
Hurt
Kevin Knight.
Syndicate. Will Ospreay.
Yeah, no need to.
This is gonna be the low key. I mean, Will Ospreay is always this, stealing the show. But like I
Mhm.
just told you this week, this is the first time I've ever seen Kevin Knight, and how athletic and prime he is. I'm sure that this is gonna be like for whatever reason, it's gonna be a 4-star match, and you're gonna be
Yeah,
like, this is the first time people have even seen Kevin Knight, and it's like, holy shit, like this guy is great. It's like 4 stars at the minimum. I'm willing to bet. Mercedes Monet versus Julia Hart. I mean, I am a personal like huge fan of Julia Hart, but Mercedes is guaranteed to win this unless
yeah.
Galactus shows up. I would
I
have
mean, but
Galactus showing up,
apparently,
but
Athena and her are on the same side of the bracket. And
are they? Okay.
yeah, if she wins and then Athena wins, then they'll be facing off in the semis next week or whenever
Hmm.
that happens. So just I go Mercedes as well.
Yep.
AEW International Championship match, triple threat. Kenny Omega, Ricochet, Speedball, Mike Bailey.
Kenny Omega for sure. Although this would be one of the best months of like Ricochet's life if he also
Right.
won this match. Like this would be like seriously like one of the best moments ever. So I
No,
ain't
but
gonna
it does
lie.
lead into a good rivalry that with him and Mike Bailey.
Yeah,
Yeah, that should
yeah,
be a fun, high octane rivalry that comes out of this as
yeah,
Omega eventually gets his way to Okada. Okada's not
yeah.
is Okada on this match? This card?
No, he's not. He's not
No
on the card.
Okada.
No Kana. That's all right. Take
Um
this one off. Dynasty was the one that was. I'll give you this context before we make this. This is the last year's Dynasty was the first Dynasty, and that was for Swerve. Swerve the eighth. You know who his favorite player is? Kobe. He takes the
okay.
picture with the championship. When he comes out, Swerve the eighth. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we doing that? Like, I'm all for Swerve winning the title. Like, obviously,
So yes,
he's
for
fire.
the audience, AEW
Like,
World Championship match, John Moxley champion versus
yeah,
Swerve Strickland.
challenger, yeah. But this is just where it's like, are we gonna? All right, so this is, I guess, this is my question because this is a grand question about Tony's booking, really more so than anything. Do you think Tony has developed the foresight or the wisdom at this point in time? We've had AEW on for 5 years, right? Do you think he has the foresight to like see something is not going right? You know, something a main storyline or like it needs a tweak. You know, obviously, I'm talking about Death Riders, and is willing to do that, like pull that trigger to be like, all right, you know, this was a misstep. Like I'm not sending you back to the Shadow Realm or nothing, but we just need to like zag right here a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Do you think he has that in him? Because I think that's what it comes down to for me. That's what it comes down to. I'm gonna pick Moxley. So, like I said, either way, this is a W for me because obviously having Swerve being the first. I mean, he's already the first black, you know, AEW World Champion, and making him catch up to Moxley. Moxley's the first 4-time. He's the only 4-time women. Or I said women's champion, 4-time men's champion, AEW champion. So it's like, hey, this puts
Yeah.
kind of like
I
you know, when you win a championship in sports versus like repeating. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You're in a different
Yeah.
conversation when you repeat. So it's like this would be Swerve repeating, I think. And you go into like Daniel Bryan, you know, Moxley, like, holy shit, these guys are AEW foundational. This
Mhm.
is what you think of. You know what I mean? And granted, to me, Swerve is already there, but I don't know.
I'm going to go with Moxley because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game at the current moment.
Also
And
true.
the fact that there seems to be some possible mending of the fences between Hangman and Swerve. Not saying that they're going to be best friends, but the enemy of the enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
And so a temporary relationship,
Alliance, yeah.
alliance, event to you know, to kind of have some type of opportunity. I don't know who else would fill that because you still need to find 2 other men and a woman. Well, you have Willow,
Willow for sure.
so you need to find 2 other men. If you have Hangman in your corner, I would I'm gonna go with Moxie right now just because I feel like there's a little bit more meat on the bone that will eventually get Swerve.
But to answer my question, I know that was kind of like drawn out, but I was like, do you believe that Tony has that in him?
I mean, to say that like he was wrong about what the Death Riders.
The direction of the Death Riders, you know, or whatever. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm saying that it's obviously not hitting on all cylinders. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah,
do you think that's what my question was? Do you think he would have that in him to like, you know, shoot a shot of adrenaline into like the men's division, basically? Because I know we're not the only ones who have felt like the men's division is stilted with the Death Riders. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like
and you
constant
saying
run-ins and like,
giving Swerve the title would be doing that?
Yes, that's what I would say. That would be him like ripping the band-aid off of the Death Riders effectively. But like I said, pound for pound is just like a straight up like challenger to Moxley in AEW. There ain't nobody. I mean, who else is better than Swerve? You know what I'm saying? Like he's already at that pinnacle of like being the top. You
I
know, it would
think
be
you can do
Hangman,
that. I think you can do that.
MJF. MJF
I
has to
think
catch up to Swerve as far as I'm
I'm saying I
concerned.
think you could, to answer your question, I think you can do that even with Moxley winning. It's all about how he wins.
Yeah.
If Swerve shows you that like he basically had you at every corner and you really needed to have underhanded tactics and like, your goons to come out and help you to win this match, it's like, okay, it already shows that Moxley ain't all that. And Swerve is right there on that ass. And all Swerve needs to do is just get some alliances and some backup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you can
you saw how
easily.
dangerous he was. He don't care. He'll house call your bitch, dog. He will house call Marina Shafir in the face and not give a fuck. Like the same way that I like how Moxley gave dirty deeds, or not dirty deeds, but paradigm shift, to Willow this week. And I was like, damn, he did that. So, all right, now this is my most dreaded match.
Final
Timeless.
card on the match: AEW Women's World Championship. Timeless Tony Storm, the champion, versus Megan Bayne.
If this goes on last, this pisses me off. If this goes on last over Moxley Swerve, it just shows how much of a fucking booking idiot that Tony Khan is. I mean, we already point out at certain things, but I'll die on another hill. The fact that the Hollywood ending just wasn't the ending of the show when it says the end. Just do that. I got so mad at Busted Open Radio listening to Bubba Ray. But he's like, oh, well, why would he put them on last? My brain was melting listening to Bubba say that. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, because they were fucking amazing. But, yeah, Mega Bayne 2 weeks in a row. It's been all up in Timeless's shit. And this might be wrong, but, like, I'm willing to die. I'm gonna die by my sister. Like this is one of those things. Like there's a line in the sand. I'm going with Timeless.
I'm going Timeless Tony Storm though. I really like to pick a no DQ, but I'm like I can't do no DQ. But not no DQ. I mean double count, double disqualification or whatever it may be. But Tony Storm as well. I think it's a little too soon, but I think I don't know. Like the hard part is that does one loss, even if Megan Bayne takes a clean loss to Tony Storm, does that negate anything from the past month?
It takes the air out of her wings as far as being a juggernaut, like for sure.
How do you make her lose this match, but not lose the momentum or build that she's created over the last month?
Yeah, either some type of the easiest way to do it is we've seen Tony do this multiple times, is like the victory roll up, or just like one of those like women's division, most devastating moves.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's a situation like that where she can get one off. It's not going to be straight up schoolboy, which is like the most basic of them all, but like a desperation victory roll or something like Stephanie Vaquer did on Jada Parker to start NXT last week. I could see something like that. Yeah, like we're just at the 20-minute mark. Megan Bayne is a juggernaut. She's never been out in the deep water as far as time limit is concerned, right? She's used to just steamrolling people. So you can tell the story of that, like her getting gassed the farther you go into the match, and like Tony's just like avoiding her, basically, and just using the smarts and like the ground and pound, or trying to, versus like getting caught up in Megan Bayne's power. That's how I would book it. But if she dies, she dies, and I'll die right next to her. Timeless is going undefeated as far as I'm concerned for the rest of her life. And those are our predictions.
Yep. 2 differences in opinions. I have the Death Riders. No.
I got the Death Riders also.
No. Yeah, we both. So we actually have only one difference.
Yeah, the TNT Championship.
So I guess there is going to be a winner or a loser. Hopefully I can extend my streak to 3 in a row now.
Yeah.
We've been running long, so let me kick through these champions of the week. Did you have any champions that you didn't add, or You already
Yeah,
said you
just a
had one
quick one.
earlier.
Yeah, it was just Ricky Saints. It was gonna be I was trying to find a quote, but really the first thing in my head is the Carlito Caribbean cool. I
Yeah.
spit in the face of people who do not want to be cool by just showing up and winning a title. Basically, not day one, because Carlito did it literally day one on those shows, but effectively, like your first
Yeah.
title matchup, definitely a surprise. And for me, like I said, we just got the faction of the calling together. That's why he's champion of the week.
Yeah, but that's go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What was your
That was
point?
that was my champion of the week too. Ricky Starks winning Ricky Saints winning the championship. That's the Kendrick Lamar Meet the Grams. Never code switch, whether right or wrong, you're a black man. Even if it don't benefit your goals, do some push-ups. Because again, knowing this guy, when he won the title, you can see that there was like genuine like emotion that was kind of being displayed. And it's crazy. Like I said, when he first debuted at the WWE, obviously he's been in the industry for a while. He was on AEW. He became a name at AEW before even coming to WWE, which is why he's at this position. But I mean, again, there's the clip of him getting super kicked by Shawn Michaels back in like 2011 or something like that. And it's like, bruh, man, like working your ass off to get here. I remember hearing conversations about him like having to like be annoyed because people don't recognize that he's a black person, or like he just think he's like a white guy. And so it's just like, bruh, it kind of epitomizes like, bruh, like be be your New Orleans, flavored, half black, half white, whatever you are, work hard. And, now within 2 months of being at NXT, you're a champion. So shout out to Ricky Saints.
Nice. And my other half-baked champion of the week was going to be the NXT crowd. And it was going to be the Parent Trap, something I couldn't figure out, but it was going to be the relationship, basically. In the Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. Mm-hmm. She goes to summer camp, and she's an American, and finds her twin sister, who happens to be British. And it's like, we're the same, It was going to be the NXT crowd for just straight up stealing the chanting tone of like the British crowd when they say Ricky Saints, Ricky Saints. I was like, it was either that or like a Manifest Destiny, like George Washington crossing the Delaware. That was going to be the champion of the week too, something like that. Like, we're just taking shit from London. Like, fuck it, we do it better than y'all. And I just thought it was like so silly that I'm like, all right, that's not a coincidence.
They also ended the show with the Tony fumbled.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's how they also ended the show.
Half-baked champions of the week.
My other champion, I was scrolling down Twitter and I came across this as somebody was saying it's Mania season. And I'm sure this might be an old clip, but I couldn't think of a better one. But I call this the Dolph Ziggler "It Should Have Been Me" title to the hilarious GCW stink face spot. I'll put it up on the screen here. I don't know if you saw this, but this was hilarious.
Yep, caked up.
You're like, huh? And then he's like, huh? And then he just kind of like passes out.
They like to reach the pencils in the corner.
Barking like a dog.
There's Fuego del Sol grabbing hold of Viva Van. Man like Therese not happy.
He's like, what are you doing, man? And then he goes right back down. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, that's literally how every man would probably react to a stink face if a woman was like, yes, I'm gonna stink face you. As a punishment, I'm gonna stink face you. And it's like, yes.
That's the first time we've seen the "It Should Have Been Me" like in real life, like in the match. You know what I'm saying? That's the first time we've seen it. That's so awesome.
I laughed every time where he got up when she when El Fuego came in the ring and took her. He was like, "Yo, what the hell you doing, bro? What the hell you doing?" And then she finally got back. He was like, "Oh snap!" He just fell back onto the ground. I was like, "Yo, that would have been me. That would have been me."
She's like, "Wait, you're up? No, I'm not. I'm down. I'm ready.
No, I'm down."
I mean, oh, that is hilarious. That would be what Swipe Right's doing next week when they get on that. like somebody's gonna get slapped and they'll be like, "I think she likes me. I'm wearing her down or something." Like,
that's hilarious. Man. And that is it for us on another week of the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast, episode 39. I think we did an amazing, spectacular show.
Yep. The Steven Jackson episode, quietly, probably the greatest show because we only get better with time, similar with Steven Jackson. Quietly, you don't know that he's the rushing champion of the Rams as an organization, if you pay attention to American football. But long story short, this is the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast. That's my buddy, the Habasha Hayes. I'm the French Fried Fro. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, do all the algorithm engagement things on our Blue Sky, on our TikTok, this YouTube channel, and send us an email at thewrestlingreup@gmail.com. Everything, no hyphen.
And we'll catch y'all next week. Peace, everyone.
Later.